I'm good. I'm good. Better now that I get to be talking to you on Indiepocalypse Radio, to be honest, and to be here with Kit is really exciting. Oh, I think I just blew the. Did I blow the secret of the next person? Oh, thank God. Oh man, I was like, oh darn, I blew it. Oh, incredible, incredible. I was just continuing the joke vibe. Is totally what I meant, but testing, testing. Oh my god. So Andrew is buying time at present because apparently my voice is the one
Oh,
coming
here we go.
through.
I'm back here. Hello.
Okay, we're back.
Hello, I am back. I
Woo!
all of the me running my mouth to buy time was just dead air. It does this weird here's the thing, it said Discord default when I opened it said default microphone source, and then when I opened it up and then I just said okay, it said yep, sounds good. Default microphone source. So it was apparently a zero microphone source beforehand. Uh, so
Tech is great until tech is not great.
yes, yes. Anyhow, JD Cavelli is here. Hello.
Hello,
Issue
everybody.
63 with impermanence to give a truncated version of my reintroduction.
It was really beautiful, the initial introduction. I'm sad you guys missed it. It
Yeah,
was
I think
erudite and
and did not even get caught in the recording because I used OBS to record everything. So it is a mysterious thing gone forever. Um, but that said, I mentioned that game. Oh no, you know what? A very important question right off the top that I need to know, the important uh, quote unquote Indiepocalypse radio question, which is, hey, how did you find Indiepocalypse as a submitter?
ooh, that's a good question. So I had kind of known about Indiepocalypse for a while because I got my MFA in game design from NYU, and NYU's kind of culture in the game design space specifically is like very independently minded, and so it
Yeah.
was kind of like this thing that existed in the background of like, oh, if you get a game into Indiepocalypse, like that's real talk. That's you're a real indie now, which is absurd, and I'm totally joking, and it's not at all
Yes.
what people
No, but
are
there
saying. But
I do definitely feel the undercurrent of NYU that trickles into
yeah, we
Indiepocalypse.
somebody found Indiepocalypse at one point, probably years ago, and then it's just been this constant undercurrent of like a cultural staple for NYU specifically, and like the Game Center specifically. And so I've been following it for a while,
Yeah, because
and yeah,
I believe the most recent, not what the previously most recent. What's the inverse of penultimate? Um,
pre-ultimate. I don't know.
well, the most
Yeah,
recent, but like the second most recent. What's the word for second most recent?
isn't it penultimate?
No, that's the second to last. I guess that could be the same thing.
I guess it could be the same thing, but you're right. I know what you mean.
Like I feel the vibe is different. Uh, but I was gonna say the whatever that word is, the second to most recent commission dev Nicole Shin may also be is
Nicole is yeah, Nicole is
NYU.
NYU. She
Okay.
was actually the year below me in the NYU Game Center, and so I'm very lucky to consider her a good friend, and her work is incredible.
Yes.
And
No. I.
uh, having been there the year above her, I was like, oh man, like that's sick. Like what you're up to is awesome. I want to be around it.
It.
So yeah, it's that's the long story short.
I am similar in the inverse of in that you know a whole. I mean, it's a city too. Like a lot of, it's not just like NYU of it all. Like I think you get a lot from like Pratt and the other colleges
True.
within. There's the there. It's weird to feel like there is a New York scene, like, but also very cool for there to be more identifiable local scenes.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, so I'm still in New York. I was in the city, but I've now moved outside of the city. But I'm close enough where I try to stay involved in the New York scene stuff. And I think you're totally right. I think there is like a New York scene that has kind of grown out of the educational spaces in New York, and also a lot of the independent spaces as well have always been kind of, I don't know if like necessarily Indiepocalypse feeders in that way, but like definitely share a lot of the same vibe. I mean, Baby Castles
Yeah,
was one, and now Boshi's Place, with whom I'm very close friends, are kind of carrying on the mantle of independent spaces that are like outside of the educational space in
yeah,
the city. And so yeah, I mean, it's been really cool to be around in the past couple of years, because I totally agree with you. I feel like there is kind of a New York style of games, or New York scene of games that's growing, which has been definitely more independently minded, definitely more artistically minded. Games as art form, games as medium.
yeah, and
In
that
addition to games fun, but it's been great to be around. Sorry.
no, 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 go ahead. No, it's fine. It is. It's just fast. Also, the fascination of like, because that's a common thing. Like, that games have, or that like in art forms will have like local flavors.
Yeah.
Um, sometimes local in space and time. Um, like these games within this region. You think of like what is French New Wave? French New Wave is
Yep.
this very specific time and place, but an identifiable time and place within cinema.
Yeah, and I wonder, like, if the New York scene as it exists right now is like a French New Wave kind of thing, insofar as like it's very specific to a time period, specific to a place.
Specific to
But I
like
also,
a group of people
a group
generally.
of people maybe,
Yeah,
yeah. But I think, I like to hope that, so I actually teach full time. I teach game design and development
yeah,
at a university on Long Island, LIU. And it's been great, and I love it. But it's interesting that a lot of the people that are in, this kind of New York scene, and I guess me by extension now, although I guess I wouldn't have considered myself a part of it, but I'm on Indiepocalypse Radio, so I get to say I'm a part of it.
yeah. Because
Uh, in whatever way. I think we've all sort of also, really focused on education and access, as like critical to games and game development. And so a lot of people out of the game center also teach. A lot of people, kind of want this scene to continue in various respects, right? Whether
right,
they teach in traditional ways, in universities like me, or, they do stuff like Boshi's does, where it's, creating sort of a third intellectual space, I guess, a salon almost of independent work,
yeah,
which is really exciting. And so, I hope that it persists in some form. I hope that it's maybe the seeds are in now, and the roots are growing. And obviously, we kind of stand on the shoulders of giants like Eric and Naomi and others, and Laura and Suits Clark and others that have been sowing the seeds of like the independent scene in New York for forever, right?
right.
But it is really exciting to be a part of it, in the ground level in some respect.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, we were. I was loosely talking in the pre-show about what's it called, MOBAs, and how
MOBAs.
and how in some weird way you can trace MOBAs all the way back to fighting games, like through this weird lineage of things. Uh, from Dota to Aeon of Strife to Dynasty Warriors to fighting games,
Yup.
it being a fighting game originally, but uh, and that's like this, in the same way that the New York games art scene is built on the back of the New York art scene.
Yup.
And it just had the city having a culture like a arts culture, and all these things
Yeah.
kind of like feed into each other, and I think that's the niceness, or I think the game in that in focusing so like in being so like industry focused, I think as it can be tempting within games. Um, I think you lose a lot because inevitably uh, large companies just dominate those spaces because they have the money to talk the
Yeah.
most. Um,
And to open that can of worms, the industry right now is not necessarily in the most exciting of places, and so it is nice to be able to sort of align myself with a scene outside of the general zeitgeist, so to speak, of whatever medium people are interested in, right?
yeah, and
Um,
it's the weird thing where the collapse of the industry is like beneficial to the medium. Uh,
Absolutely, I agree, and hopefully hopefully I'm a little cynical only because like a lot of people are very vocally angry about how the modern game industry is a problem in whatever respects, and yet it seems that the AAA games of the current day are the ones that are the best selling, or the most sustainably like I don't know, that's not even true. They're not even really sustainable for a
right.
myriad of reasons. But I go into sort of this the ashes, I guess, of or the crumbling of the current industry, like with one eye open and one eye closed, because I'm like, all right, like I really hope people do use this as an opportunity to support smaller independent scenes and find like the interesting work that's there. And I also hope that I guess the industry learns its lessons in whatever respects it can
I think
from
yeah.
kind of the reactions of the current day, right?
I think there is definitely the. I think a lot of it feels like the the crushing reality that most artists don't make their art. Like I think of how many artists in other mediums um, do both do their art as their day job and do their own independent art that they own as their day job. Uh,
Correct. Yeah.
it's like
And
tiny.
yeah. I mean, and so it's interesting from the perspective of being a professor now, right? Like I'm still relatively young. I'm 26.
Right.
And but it's interesting sort of, being on the other side of the table, because I'm also relatively recently out of school as well. And I think a lot of students, it seems, come in with like this ardent hope that they're going to go work for Activision or whatever. And I view and to those who that is like their genuine dream, right? And they
Right.
really want that. I want to support them. But also I try to the best of my ability, to introduce them, to kind of the other avenues of what it means to be a game maker, right? Like you can be a game developer and be working insurance during the day, and nighttime as the artist of your of whatever repute that you want to be.
Right.
Like you don't necessarily have to kind of give up your artistic energy and creative output to someone else, if you don't want to. But if you do, like happy to help you with that too, right? But it's interesting sort of over the time that students kind of build games as sort of an within the New York scene. It seems like more and more people um, are accepting or being excited by the idea of like building your own stuff, right?
Right.
Like not just kind of becoming someone else's tool,
Yeah.
but also kind of being the generative engine for your own work, which is really exciting.
Right. Right. Because I mean, even if you are like, I think, if you want to be like a cog in the machine that puts you close to the art, that's also like, hey, a nice if that's whatever your day job wants to whatever you want your day job to be.
Yeah,
Uh, that's cool. Um, it is definitely, I think, the dream of the indie, I think, is getting squashed more and more, and I think in a weirdly good way because
yeah.
it's built on the bones of people with upper middle class incomes and uh, people who are very well to do, either are well connected within the industry, or
Yep.
like people who had a bunch of head starts, that you didn't see.
Yeah, and no, 100%. And like, for every indie game maker's sake, I hope they make a game that makes them $1 billion and they
Right.
get to continue making whatever game that they want, right? And I, because that would be awesome if we lived in a world where we could do that. And I think, you know, it's weird because I guess there's almost like a culture of failure in sort of students where it's like, well, I didn't get the Activision internship, because
Right.
I felt this myself when I was, a weir lad, right? Insofar as like, oh, I didn't get the Activision internship, I didn't get the Bungie internship, so I must not be good at this, or I must not be meant for this, or I won't be able to do this in whatever respect. I think it's important to try to frame the narrative a little bit more like, if you're being trained in an art form, right? Like, and you can be excellent at that art form, and it doesn't require X, Y, or Z, external validation to
Yeah.
enable you to do that, right? And also, like, you can work whatever day job to pay the bills that you need to. You're still an artist, right? Like, it's not like you have to, give up everything in pursuit of your art in order to achieve greatness,
Right.
or
Right.
you have to, like, be under the tutelage of some already established logic. I don't know. I'm kind of spewing a little bit here, but I think it
Yeah.
is
No, it
in the
is like
context of a.
there
Sorry, go ahead.
there is like, especially if, games, I think, are, because, to bring it to, bring it back to the local scenes, games have
Yeah.
not the same kind of active local scene as, like, a local music scene, or, like,
Yup.
acting, which is focused in the US in, like, basically two cities or three cities
Yup. True.
maybe. That you feel connected to it. So it often goes online, and online filters into the biggest, loudest voices in the room, and you're like,
Yeah.
why can't I get them to notice me? Am I a failure?
Or even like I like Claire Obscura 33, or the game that's sort of the newest indie darling.
The newest
Um,
$50 million indie darling.
exactly. That's exactly what I was gonna say. Actually, it's like the newest $50 million indie darling, where it's like, then even indie creators are like, oh, that's what I have to create in order to legitimize myself.
Yeah, it's
And it's like,
just have
no.
an oligarch, just have some oligarch parents that.
Exactly, right? And then they'll put billions of dollars, millions of dollars into the development of this thing that may not work out, and have no, concern about it. Or, will not have to have the same level of concern about it
Right.
as anybody else.
You can work full
And it's like,
time.
yeah, exactly.
You can
You
fund a
took the words
team.
out of my mouth.
Yeah, it's people, like, people in games. This my long-standing feeling is people in games have too much goddamn money,
Yeah.
and 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 like that them having that money trickles down to even people who don't have that much money,
Yeah.
and they, like, that kind of, like, because they just assume, they're like, it's a video games is a fucking medium of, like, how much does a banana cost,
Yeah. Yeah. True.
of of a lot of people just have, like, oh, just mortgage your house. Like, wait a
Yeah.
minute, that's
Hold on.
there's a couple steps you need to get to there.
Yeah, that assumes a house is had in the
Right.
first place to be able to refinance. Like,
Right.
yeah.
Right. It's just like this kind of advice that has all these steps in front of it, and you're like, wait a minute. Uh, I don't know. Have a partner who can afford, whose job can fully support two people.
Yeah, I mean, I think wasn't that and like I love Stardew Valley and I love Chucklefish and what they're doing, and it's so cool that they built their own engine and so on and so forth. But I'm pretty sure that was the strategy, like
Yeah,
of like
probably. That's like
yeah,
all of it. None of these people I don't think any of these people are, like, sitting, uh, you know, penniless in a
yeah,
tiny broken down studio full of cockroaches making
yeah.
their indie games.
And I guess to wrap up my section, because I know I'm excited to give Kit the floor. Is like impermanence to me, and
Yes,
the
that's
games that I try to. Sorry.
no, that was perfect, because I was also going to ask you about impermanence, because we hadn't gotten to it.
Oh yeah, I mean, impermanence to me is like my approach to try to make smaller things that are imbued with some meaning, right? I think many people in Indiepocalypse probably share um that
Right.
sentiment. And I think also, the as a product of the New York indie game scene, the New York indie game scene definitely, I think, is growing in that sentiment as well, of like, create something that is small but meaningful to you in your own way, and draw from media that you care about, right? Like, to me, Impermanence is like very drawn. It's very filmic. I won't say cinematic because that has like a lot of connotations that I hate.
Right.
Uh, but I studied media studies in undergrad, and obviously like film and like the art of film is a big driver for my work. And I think I brought a lot of that sort of medium, like that medium into Impermanence. And I guess like for me, Impermanence was my first actually like attempt, I think, to make a game in this style of like a small thing, maybe more of a poem than a game. I'm a big fan of Jordan Magnuson's work in game poems and sort of
Yes.
that line of thought. And I think to me, like, Impermanence was that for me, and it was reflective of a period of time and in my life, and was sort of an exploration of some thoughts that I was having, right? And I was very happy, elated, frankly, just to hear that it connected with Indiepocalypse in the way that I thought it would. But I'm glad that it could be a part of it, because in my mind it was like, if this game got into something like Indiepocalypse, like, it would prove to me and hopefully to others that like the small game, that's really more of an exploration of a thought or an idea, can still be loved and appreciated by other people. So that, that's Impermanence to me, I
Yeah.
guess.
No,
Also, I can't do art. Like, I'm not a visual artist, so I'm a programmer and I love programming. And boiling animations, man, with drawn on paper. It goes hard. Let me say, for all my fellow non-trained visual artists, you can go very far with a piece of paper.
yes. Yeah.
Is
No.
what I would also say.
Right. Right. Working towards theoretical perfection or whatever, pointless.
Yeah,
Uh, I'd rather see messiness than like this theoretical sheened off kind of perfect thing that feels like nothing.
yeah,
Feels
that's agreed.
feels like no person ever wanted to make it.
Yeah, I mean, this is like the whole. It reminds me of a lot of the conversations people have about like AI as well, which is the other elephant in the room, I suppose, in any conversation about games right now.
Right.
It's like the industry is looking not great, and like AI exists and is scary. And I guess the solace that I take about it is that it does fall victim to that like perfectly sanded off edge in every possible way, where it's like there's nothing to it anymore, right? Like, I think that it is important to stress, especially in independent game making, that it's like the rough edge like is the point, like that
Right.
is the thing, right? Like, the human touch, the imperfection, right, is what makes it so powerful. And
Yeah.
I hope that Impermanence kind of proves that in some ways. But
Yeah, there
uh
were plenty of cases
general
where I see people who have even made like an AI cover for something, and I was like,
uh
I would rather see like just whatever cover you would make, even if it's just like the what you think is terrible. It just would look like something, you know.
Yeah, like, even if it's just like a picture of like the Unity or the Godot scene or something like that.
Right.
Like, I would prefer that, like, in every way. Also, my biggest regret, about Impermanence, frankly, is that I made it in Unity. That is my biggest regret, about the whole piece. Not because, like, I do believe that like tools that are agnostic to some extent, right?
Yeah.
Like, the tool just enables you to do the thing. But if I'd known at the time about Godot or other open source tooling, which is more in my wheelhouse now than it was at the time, I definitely would have preferred to have made this game, or any game, frankly, in that universe, as opposed to kind of within Unity's universe. In that respect, like I actually give a lot of credit to the Fungus project, which is like a visual novel engine, like open source visual novel engine that's built on top of Unity. I don't know if it's still maintained. I don't know if it still exists in any form. But a lot of my game is also kind of built on that. So it's a Unity game, but I would rather say it's a Fungus game,
Yeah.
because it makes me feel better. But like, yeah, and again, like, no shade to people using Unity. Again, like
Right. It's
the
engines or
tool,
engines or engines. You know, you use what
yeah,
you want to use or whatever.
exactly.
But I've
But for me, I would prefer to have made it in an open source tool because I have the, in retrospect,
yes.
I would have preferred to build it that way. It just fits more with my sort of personal ethos about game making. And so I try to move away from proprietary stuff as much as possible now. Um, just because for my own sake than anything else. But you're right. A tool is a tool is a tool. I don't want to come across as like, don't use Unity. Unity bad. But what I do want to say is, if you want to use Unity, try Godot, because you may be surprised at
Uh,
how awesome it is. Yeah.
and so we wrap up the segment, like wrap up every segment of the show with two important questions that are the stock standard Indiepocalypse radio questions. Um, so I need to know first, what's your favorite type of rock?
Oh, pumice.
Okay.
Pumice. Definitely pumice.
And follow up, do you have a favorite Toho character?
Oh man, I don't. I don't. It's an area of game that I have not dived that far into, and would
Acceptable.
appreciate
It's an acceptable
any
answer.
requests on where, or any recommendations on where to start, frankly.
I think sometimes a good start is just like in a fan game. If you're, for instance, wary of bullet hells. Um, Sometimes because fan games those exist in all genres.
Very true.
So find
I
find
just in my other tab, I just opened up Toho fan games on DuckDuckGo, so we'll see where
yeah,
that leads me.
infinite number of
But yeah,
them.
I'm sure. Thank you
Um,
so much for
Thank
having me.
you.
It's been a pleasure, and I'm excited to stay on and hear from Kit and
Yes,
join for the group section at
perfect.
the
We'll
end.
be going on break right now and see everyone else on the other half of the other side rather of about 2 minutes and 46 seconds. Goodbye for now. Hello and welcome back to Indiepocalypse Radio. That was, of course, Courtney Barnett's "Nobody Really Cares If You Don't Go to the Party." I've also been thinking a lot about like really some albums with really long, albums with very long titles, because that's a very long one. But speaking of things that don't have long titles, one-word titles even. Our next guest, you may know from issue 62 of Indiepocalypse with the verses. It's Kit Reamer. Is Reamer
What's
correct?
up? Yeah, Reamer's correct, although it is IE.
Yes.
So you got the difficult part right. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Sometimes I think like so when I do this often thing of I look at the last name and I forget to ask and I go, do I throw some spice on it? Or do I just say it simply? And I'll just say it simply.
Yeah. Yeah, sometimes you just gotta shoot and
Yeah.
see what happens.
Well, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. Long time listener, etc.
First time caller inner.
hmm
I am still like. Anyway, I was gonna say addicted to the idea of having people call in ever since Ash called in, like literally
That would
called
be,
in.
yeah, that's cool. I like that. I used to do a radio show, and the call-ins were uh, really stressful, but also
Yeah.
very fun.
Right. Right. Oh, did I? Did I? Oh, did I? I inversed it on my thing
That's okay.
on my stream. I was like, how did I do that wrong?
It's all
Um,
good.
but since you were here for the first segment, you of course prepared for this question up front, which is, hey, how
Naturally.
did you find Indiepocalypse Radio?
I
Or not
think
radio?
so.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, Indiepocalypse writ large.
Yes.
I mean, so the first sort of like indication I had of your existence was I think you like added verses to like a
Ah, the
like
list.
a list. Yeah, the list.
The giant my 10,000 game list.
Exactly. And I was like, I don't get added to lists that often. So
Yes.
I went and looked and I was like, oh, okay. So you have like this like publication, this regular publication that comes out and like you actually pay people. That's really cool.
Yeah.
And then I ended up talking to some other people in this sort of like interactive fiction group who had submitted
Yeah,
and
you are in the Neo Interactive.
exactly, yeah.
Uh,
Those are my boys.
yeah.
And and they recommended that I do it, so I did it and yeah. I was kind of surprised that you chose Versus because a lot of the other games are, like graphical
Oh,
and
yeah.
much more like Versus is kind of a hard sell. Like it doesn't look interesting and it also doesn't sound interesting. I hope it is interesting, but
You are
it's not
talking
really like
to a number
well,
one. You're talking to a number one Chantal Ackerman booster. You know,
okay.
I
Yeah, yeah,
love
yeah. Okay.
quote unquote uninteresting
Yeah.
work.
Yeah.
Uh,
I mean, and a lot of the game is about doing like uninteresting work, so it's
right.
it's apropos, I guess. But yeah, I was thrilled that you liked it.
No, it's very like it is one of these. It is a game where I've been so as a shorthand like at events. I think there is a tendency to like when people go, "What is this game?" Like the language around games is very gameplay focused,
Hmm.
um, and like that doesn't serve so many like the vast majority of games. I think are like done a disservice by trying to describe them like that.
Yeah. Yeah, I can't just be like, "Oh, it's a roguelike with elements of like whatever."
Right. Oh, it's a text adventure game. It's a
Hmm.
twine text
You
adventure
click words.
with multiple endings. And you're like,
Yeah.
well, that doesn't like
Yeah.
explain what the game is. It doesn't like get into like the essence of like like you said like the sometimes the importance behind tedious work and like the nuance of language and like
Hmm.
the nature of research in the first place. Um,
Yeah, I've had a lot of opportunities since even while I was working on it, where people kind of were asking me about it, and I was really struggling to like not like pitch it because
right.
I don't care about that, but like even just like explain the point of it and like what I was doing day to day. So I would kind of like revert back to just talking about like the work that I was doing, where I'd be like, okay, I'm translating poems
Yeah.
from Romanian, and I'm making it so that you first do literal translation and then you kind of like try to include some cultural context and understanding of like the metaphor and when the poem like was written and the circumstances of it. And then I'm comparing that process to like observing the world basically. And
Yeah.
that's sort of the central like metaphor of the game, I guess.
Right, and that's lost by saying it's a twine game with multiple endings.
Exactly. Yeah, 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 yeah. Although it very much is.
Yes, that's true. That is what it is.
Yeah, it's just words on a screen.
Right, right. You're right, and yeah, in the same way that try. It would be very funny if people described movies in the same way we describe games, and just like strictly what happens.
Yeah, yeah. These guys go to a place
Yeah,
and take stuff and leave, and it's like heat.
right. Yes. It's just about a bank robbery. Well, yeah,
Yeah,
yes, technically,
yeah.
um, but it is kind of um, does not does not do does not do it a service.
Hmm.
Um,
It's tough with interactive fiction, I think. Like I've
yeah,
I've found other things easier to talk about, like my game before that, Computer Friend.
right.
It's an AI therapist. You talk to it, and it basically like is the worst possible therapist and makes you want to kill yourself. That's the whole game.
Yeah,
And that's like a pretty quick sell,
right, right.
pretty descriptive.
It's got a nice, it's got a easy punch to it.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, also, speaking of the fun thing of looking at people's comments is seeing like all the people that I just know.
Mhm.
Uh, in the comments of Computer Friend, two-fourths of the comments are other Indiepocalypse contributors.
Oh wow, that's so funny.
Body Poetic and Mind Ape, and that's like 1 and 2 years ago, like completely divorced
Wow.
of all of this.
Oh yeah, Mind Ape wrote a really good like article that talked about
Right, in Choice Beat.
yeah, yeah. That was sick. I was really thrilled by that.
And what's it? Computer Friend was also in Misery Tourism.
Yeah. Oh, you know them?
Yeah, Misery Tour. I'm blanking on the name of the Misery Tourism. They had made Wartime Chess. Um,
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Wartime Chess
Rudy
was
and
in Indiepocalypse.
no way. I didn't know that. That's so cool.
It's all,
Yeah.
and that is like I think I mentioned all because to kind of relate to the first thing. There's an interconnectedness in games that I think is starting to emerge more.
Hmm.
That I feel like doesn't get recognized sometimes. Um,
Yeah.
like
Nobody else is gonna like, I don't know, like boost our stuff or give us any money for it, so we have to do it ourselves.
right. It is very much like right. There is very little money for for whatever little money there is for like games and independent games. Imagine there is 10,000 times less that for art games, which is to say
Mhm.
there is zero money for art games.
Yeah, that's so
Um,
real.
you just kind of gotta you just kind of gotta do it for fun. Uh,
Yeah. I mean, IF
yeah,
comp, like I like placed 14th in IF comp for
right,
versus, and I actually got like a couple $100 because they have like a cash pool that they divide up among like the top 2/3 of games or something like that. And that was like awesome. I was
right,
I was super happy, but I spent like 3 years on the game working probably
right,
like over 1,000 hours, like day after day, like at a library, just like translating poems. Like
right.
I didn't do it because I thought I would make back my investment, like
No, no, and that and
you
that
got to do it for the love of the game.
right because and at that point, like, you start analyzing like your time, and go.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
You start like doing a time card and
Hmm.
like, okay, well, these are the hours of my life that I spent. But I think that's part of the benefits of IFComp being around for like so long.
Hmm.
Um, that like maybe that part there's part of that spirit built it. I mean, also IF is like king of the hobbyists,
Yeah, yeah, that's so real. It's the most dedicated people.
like IF is not bringing out huge numbers,
No.
IF is not tearing up the Steam charts anytime soon.
No, it's funny. It's like these people who have been making these like intricate little puzzles for, like 30 years and they
Yeah,
just love it and they share it with each other and they review each other's stuff. It's such a tight community. It's all these like incredibly smart and like kind of surprisingly diverse people.
yeah,
It's really, really cool. Intfiction.org. Check it out. You're gonna
yes,
love it.
no, like I think Narrowscope is happening soon, which is also
Yeah, I think it's
adjacent
in
to that.
is that Drexel or something? Yeah. I wanted to go, but I don't think I'm gonna make it.
Yeah, no, I always forget about it mostly because I don't have things to submit, but it is also
Hmm.
like it because I think it happened in Boston quite a few times.
Yeah, it's like upstate New York sometimes. I think it's been in Boston.
Because there are some
Airskip's cool though.
yeah
Yeah.
because I know there are some so there are some pivotal IF people that I see sometimes being
Hmm.
mass local at like meetups and stuff.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah.
so there's
My
like
buddy Autumn's gonna be at Narrowscope, so if you go, you better catch her talk.
yes, go check. I will not be going, but any listeners who are going,
Yeah, Autumn Chen. Also go
yes,
play her games. She's
that's what I was
awesome.
gonna ask. I assumed that was the Autumn I was thinking of.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Because in there with because I know they submitted social democracy maybe.
Hmm.
I was
Yeah,
looking. I was
which is
looking.
like such a crazy thing how that game has blown up. I'm so
Right,
proud of her. That's
right.
awesome.
Sometimes IF does blow up.
Yeah, really. There was that like game where you wake up in Jeff Bezos's body and you like have to spend all his money before his handlers kill you or something.
Right.
That one was good.
Usually, I mean, it helps to be in the moment, in the current
Yeah, yeah.
era.
Zeitgeist.
Yeah. But at the same time, I think it's important to uh, not forget those after that.
Hmm. Yeah, and there's like so many like incredible games that are like they're just never gonna surface above the sort of like tiny infix scene, and
Yeah.
like the only way you'll ever find them is if you just like make friends in the community and play anything that looks slightly interesting to you. But
Right.
it's some of the most incredible stuff you'll ever see.
Yeah, I was making trailers for a while, and then I stopped making them because Blue Sky has shorter video limits. So like, phew, good excuse not to make trailers. um,
Yeah, yeah.
but like when I make like, what is the trailer for Versus? I click on some words, you know?
Right, yeah. I submitted it to I think it was like a Narrowscope like showcase or something,
Yeah.
and they had me make like a 2-minute video sort of filming it, and I was like, okay, I'll screen record myself like clicking words, I guess.
Right.
Like it's so I don't know. It's just not it's not very visually and you can make interactive fiction like visually appealing and interesting, but
Right.
I don't have the patience, so I'm
Yeah,
just gonna
I think a lot. Oh, I'm blanking on the name of the game. That is, it is. And the thing is, the worst thing is it's Indiepocalypse.
Mhm.
um, but I am blanking on the name in the moment. But it does a cool, very cool, like 3 column kind of like text style where
Mm,
there's three
mhm.
voices, and it displays it within 3 columns, 3 different
Yeah.
stylized approaches. Oh, I have to look it up because I'm very annoyed that I'm usually good at remembering everything, but sometimes
I'm not, so that's impressive.
it is mostly on this show is when I always forget everything.
Yeah, I mean, you've only published like 15,000 games or whatever, so
It's
you
just
should
like
definitely.
650, 660 maybe.
Yeah, yeah, you should definitely have those all available on the Rolodex at all
Right,
times.
just like locked and loaded in my brain, and know exactly the name of the person who made all these games as well. Yeah, it's truly a failure on my own part, but I'm trying to get better at it.
That's
Uh,
okay.
I apologize for my failure. What's the phrase that people use when they get caught doing something bad? It's like
Oh, like the Notes app, like
I'm working to improve them. This next journey of my life. This next I'm
that's
working
good.
to make improvements, and the next step of the journey of my life.
Yeah, I like
Uh,
that.
if you
I
ever,
welcome you back to the community.
oh, thank you for welcoming. I hope one day I can earn your trust back.
I hope so too.
Uh, that is, if you ever catch me talking about like me being steps in my journey, know that
It's over.
I've been replaced.
Yeah.
It's such a deranged way to talk about like it feels like this weird like corporate speak that is like
Yeah,
permeated art.
yeah, you have to become like a PR expert. It's like a lot of queer spaces, I think you also just have to like people form this extremely like clinical way
Yeah.
of talking to one another to try to prevent like not to prevent harm, but to prevent maybe like accountability. I don't know. It's
Right.
but they learn like therapy speak and they talk about like things in these like super clinical terms that are literally just like normal human. Like I don't know.
Yes.
I kind of
Yes.
I kind of prefer when
No.
people don't know how to express
Right.
themselves.
Right. Right. When someone doesn't know what a spoon is, you know.
Yeah, because I don't. I don't know
Yeah.
what I use
Uh,
a fork for everything.
yeah. Why? It's the perfect tool.
Yeah,
Soup.
it's
I
not
just
great
fucking
for
drink
soup.
that shit. I just drink
I
soup.
tip the bowl up. Yeah,
Yeah.
you have to.
Sleepless in the Sapphire City by Coral Noah is what I was thinking of.
Nice.
Um,
I haven't played that one.
it does a very cool kind of like um, a split text thing.
Hmm. That's
That
awesome. Yeah.
so I mean that kind of like that's about as close as you can get in terms of
Yeah.
a text game like really popping. They usually
Yeah. I mean,
don't.
there's like there are ways to like kind of make it novel if you're willing to learn enough like CSS and JavaScript to like I don't know, like a friend of mine, Manon in the Neo Interactives, had a game called Doll OS that's like she basically built like a computer terminal interface for the
Right,
entire game and you're like opening files and stuff and that's super cool. But like I tried to do that with Computer Friend. I couldn't do it. I don't have the skill or the patience.
right.
Um, and so I just settled for, like the best I could do, and it was good enough. Whoever had the patience for it liked it, and whoever wanted something flashier went and played Valor instead.
Yeah, that is also good. I'm on their website right now. It's also a good website.
Oh,
Uh,
it's such a good website. Yeah. Um, her NeoCities is So good. It's Manana Mora
Yeah,
at .neocities. It's incredible. You got to check it out.
it is like there is. The thing is, folks, there are too many games actually to play,
That is true.
and I think that's a good thing. And I think there needs to be like I'm really hoping that eventually like uh, games feel more like someone's game taste feels more unique, you know.
Hmm.
Um,
I mean, the
and
fact that we have like Twine and stuff is
yeah,
very, I don't know. It's a the indie game scene is like, despite being just a bunch of like poor people passing around the same $20 bill, it's
yeah,
like pretty democratic
right,
because you
right,
don't have to know that much. You can just like be passionate and make stuff.
yeah, yeah. And so many tools I have like are so easy. I I came across someone came up to my booth at PAX East and they were like
Mm.
talking about they have the game more in the pixel art and thinking about getting more into games and I said, "Oh, yeah, you know, they heard this thing called Bitsy, like
Hmm.
you can just like fire it up super quick." And then you know, they had followed me on like Instagram, so I'd follow them back like cuz I like to keep up on artists, you know.
Yeah.
And like 2 days into PAX like on their story like I made a game in Bitsy.
Let's go. Your influence.
And it's just like it's like so many tools are available for people to like immediately make games, you know.
Yeah. Like that. Like, I don't know. It feels like there's almost as many people creating tools as there are people creating games. Like I
Right.
know some of the game creators that I really like are working on, I mean, Manon works on like Sugar Cube templates for Twine that other people can use to stylize their games, and I don't know, that's so cool. Like it's so the work has to be its own reward because
Right.
like you're never gonna get anything for that
Yeah, no.
compared to what you put in. But
I would love to like in the rare time where I spend where I actually work making games, there's very few and far between. It is, you know, me building out like stuff in Game Maker that I can use, you know. And like
yeah,
and then the idea of like, oh, I can just put up a pack that's just like oh, okay. So here's if you want to play make a game maker game, it has like here it has 8-wave movement, has platform movement, has Sokoban
mhm,
style. It just has all these little like modules or whatever, all these scripts already made. So you have anything
yeah,
that removes like the barrier to like making games.
yeah, just make it easier to get started.
Right, right. And like sometimes some people find pleasure in being like, oh yeah, I know I want to learn how to make a Sokoban system. Some people are like, I know I want to use Sokoban, but I don't want to make it.
Hmm.
And like sometimes that can be like a barrier.
Yeah, and like some people love like what I consider the busy work,
Right.
like the in just like fiction, it would be like the world building and the planning and storyboarding, strategizing. In
Yeah.
games, it's kind of like building the interfaces and the sort of like I don't know, like how much does this character slow down after you release the forward key and like at
Right.
what rate and like that is my personal hell and I love that there's people who are trying to make that easier for me. I really appreciate it.
Yes. Yeah. No, that is like it's why I'm always like I don't understand like game development discourse. It's very confusing to me because it always the answer is whenever I look at an argument, the answer is always sometimes like
Yeah.
our parry's good sometimes
Hmm.
like it feels too often like it's trying to solve an unsolvable thing, you know.
Yeah, people want that stuff to be binary, but like I don't know. There's a musician named Owen Pallett that I like, and they said once that like when they're making a song, they'll try to find the note that sounds most wrong, like compared to kind of the bass notes, and then
Right.
just like insert it in a way that actually makes it feel right. I really think you can do like the sick shit that nobody likes and put it in a game in the right way, and people will tolerate it
Yeah.
if you've done it in a smart and creative way that enhances the game.
And then also you never know people will hate it then maybe uh 3 days later they like it or 3 years
Yeah,
5 years later it's actually no people are like oh no this was actually very smart and
yeah,
you know
time text is actually good, and like I don't want to be able to read everything on the page at my own speed. I want to see every letter come up
right
one after another. Like,
There,
That's what I'm into.
FromSoft used to be the king of 5 out of 10 review scores, and now you've
Yeah,
got
look at
like
them now.
7 Kingsfield inspired games coming out in 2025 or
Yeah,
whatever.
yeah. You can change the world by making mediocre, kind of crappy games that have a lot of heart.
Yeah, and then people are just like, oh look, people reevaluate art constantly. You know.
Yeah, like, oh, this shitty thing that I used to hate reminds me of this game that I now love.
Yes.
Let's put more of that in. It's like, I don't know, vinyl static or something.
Right. Right. Yeah. It's the whatever that Brian Eno quote that I always mention on the show that I always forget
Yeah, it's
about.
the flavor.
Yeah, people love the shitty stuff.
Yeah, everything you hate about the art form will become something desired
Yes.
once the art form becomes nostalgic.
Right. Right. And the tape crackle of
Hmm.
There's anyway. Anyhow, we are approaching the end of the segment here. It just breezes by.
Yeah,
Uh,
I know.
but before that, I have 2 questions. You have some time to prepare.
Hmm.
What's your favorite type of rock?
I'm a big fan of feldspar. I feel
Okay.
like it's like kind of the nitrogen of the solid realm. Um, Underappreciated, ubiquitous. Just she's always there for me.
Okay, I had to look at feldspar. I had to.
Yeah, it's like you don't think about feldspar that much, but like feldspar's always got your back. You know,
Yeah,
making up like a not the majority, but like a pretty large portion of the Earth's crust.
and
It's a
we
good
need that.
mineral.
We need that to stand on.
Yeah, we want that. I mean,
Yeah.
yeah, we have less and less of it with global warming, so
Right.
let's big
Very
ups to feldspar.
very handy to be able to stand on crust and not like have to go into the water or just float into
Hmm.
space.
Yeah.
Or the core. We don't want to be in the core either. I think.
No, we don't want to be there. There's that movie about that. I don't want
Yeah.
to go down there.
I think it's hot down. Never seen it, but I think it's hot.
It seems like it would be hot, like just based on sort of my idea of it. I don't know.
All like the pictures you see of the Earth cut in half, it's always red.
Yeah, it's always orange and like that
Yeah.
could just be the color, but or I don't know, could
Yeah,
represent.
because
I don't know.
oranges aren't hot.
Right.
Hot.
Oranges are room temperature
Right.
often.
Or like famously refreshing, almost.
Yeah. Yeah, juicy even. And I feel like the crust like does have liquid in it, but
Yeah.
it's not, I don't know.
Can I drink some of the
I
Earth's
love this
core?
bit.
um, but that said, to follow up these important questions with another important question, um, do you have a favorite Toho character?
I've never played Toho.
Acceptable.
I know nothing about it. I'm sorry.
No need to apologize.
I don't really play like video games unless they're like I don't know, text-based or Minecraft or just yeah.
Yeah, that's hey,
I get
is
stressed out. I get scared.
that's a viable approach to video games. You know,
Thank you.
that is what I'm talking about. Of like, I just want everyone to have different tastes in video games.
Yeah. I don't like them in general, but the ones that I do like, other people tend to not like. So that
Huh.
makes me really cool, I guess.
Yeah, that makes you like ahead of the curve when you think about
Yeah,
it. Um,
nice.
but speaking of being ahead, nope. We're gonna go on break. Kid, thanks for joining me.
Okay, cool.
We'll be back in about 2 minutes and 14 seconds. Goodbye for now. Hello and
Yeah,
welcome back to Indiepocalypse Radio. We're here with the whole crew, and I am containing myself to not talk about Perfect Tides, um, which
We
is
had some backroom conversations
uh,
about it.
it's folks. If you haven't played Perfect Tides, 100% full throated recommendation, undefeatable. My
Yeah, Meredith Grant is awesome.
yeah no Octopus Pie is
Best
I-
webcomic in my
yes,
lifetime.
hands down
Means ever.
one of the best comics ever made. I think.
Yeah.
I think about to get even more into the minutia. There's a Halloween storyline in that, in which the main character Eve dresses as grapes, and someone asks like from what, and she's like grapes.
Grapes from grapes.
Right, and I think about that concept of everything has to be from something. Whenever I think
Yeah.
about that, I
From
think about
what to grapes is
I
crazy.
think about from
That
grapes.
Yeah.
Oh man.
I
But
always
yeah,
wanted to do a couple's costume that was like a ketchup bottle and a mustard bottle or something. But
That's
then maybe
cool.
we
That's
just do two like mustard bottles. That'd be
ooh, from
kind of
what?
queering it.
right.
Yeah, from the dinner table.
Yeah.
Right, exactly. Not in my America. Ketchup and mustard. No, two
Yeah,
mustards or two ketchups.
it's ketchup and mustard, not ketchup and
It's
Steve.
Right,
That's what I always
exactly.
say.
No,
Wow.
don't worry, folks. Supermarkets are still celebrating Pride Month, so
Mhm.
my flyer reassured me that they still want that money.
yeah.
Yeah,
So you can go to the grocery store and buy like a gay banana or something.
yeah. Rainbow Pepsi.
Yeah.
Rainbow Pepsi. They all changed um their profile pics for the month.
Yes.
So we're
Yeah,
good,
yeah.
guys. It's all good.
I wonder
Everything.
what the gayest fruit is. Maybe like a dragon fruit.
Maybe.
Just like
Yes.
so much going on. There's something like drag about it. I like it.
I mean, it's already in the name. Like I think if you put a
Yeah,
little,
it
Oh,
feels like
wow. You're so
you put a
yeah.
little, put a little spice on that, you know.
Sometimes I get 90% through a thought and
Yeah.
just need somebody else to
To,
scoop
to,
me the last 10%.
exactly. We're also talking about an Aeroscope, and I'm doing a count here of. I wish the short list was that so I could count how many were in the short list, but I don't see the short list,
Mm.
despite their saying notification of
I
short
have
list
the
selection.
oh, it's
it
out.
was an
Oh, it's
email.
out.
Oh, where
I can
is
send
it?
it. I'll drop it in the
It's in
chat.
the community tab. I know. I typed it.
It's not on the damn website.
Oh
I'll
well, now you're asking too much. Now hold on. Now,
I'm dropping it in the
I'll find
chat.
it. I got it. Yeah, look
yeah.
at this.
For context, in the back room to those
Yes.
of us listening, um, Kit and I did not know each other prior to this meeting, but to the radio show. But we are both involved with the Narrowscope and the IF communities, which is really exciting.
Yeah, which makes
Um,
us like blood relatives
I was about
basically.
to say basically, but there's what, like 10 of us left, so there's
Yeah,
probably, yeah,
we're
we got to
not
be
many.
blood related or something.
Yeah, nobody else is watching out for us. We got to do
Yeah,
it.
for real. When you said the minute you said we're all passing around the same dollar, I
Yeah.
was literally thinking about that while I was listening to you. I was like, oh my god,
Yeah,
we are straight doing that.
running Narrowscope. Yeah, yeah. That.
Oh my
Oh my God.
god,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, we are. Sorry,
Yeah.
go ahead.
I found it. I was looking at to see. And yeah, no, there is. Let's just say maybe an upcoming Indiepocalypse contributor is already in there.
Let's go.
Hey!
In terms of one of the games, but also like Sweet Fish I commissioned for Eater Cake, Adair.
Mm.
I just played something to reach for at a maze very recently.
How was it?
Very good.
Oh, how was it?
All right.
Nice.
There you go.
Big fan.
Yeah. It's been really fun running Narrowscope this year because it's the first. So I'm the co-chair, like I mentioned in the break room, but for context for everybody else, I'm the co-chair this year, and I'll be the chair next year. And sort of a lot of people were like, "Oh, we should do a showcase. We'd love to have like a Narrowscope showcase." It's not something we've ever done before. We've had like kind of more ad hoc showing of games, but we've never really done like a proper showcase celebration.
Right.
So I was like, "Oh, I'll handle it. How difficult could it possibly be?"
Yeah.
Well,
You just have to navigate 150 submissions.
yeah,
And
it's
getting
just 100
jurors and yeah.
and jurors and getting people paid and the getting awards and sponsors and yeah. So I could talk about that for hours, but I mean, I was shocked with how how the community response was just so awesome, specifically for the showcase. Like, I was hoping like 10 people would submit games and we'd show them. We get like 150 people to submit things,
Right.
which was
Wow.
like it was a dream, and it was a nightmare too because then we had to get all those games played.
Yes.
But it was the best possible problem in every way, and so. Yeah, if shout out Narrowscope if you want to come by. We are at Drexel this year. I was holding my tongue during
Oh,
this
that's right.
section. We
I'm
are at
glad I got
Drexel
that
this
right.
year. We'll be somewhere else next year. We're a fun crowd, very art game focused.
Yes.
Yeah, it is cool how especially the IF community has kind of become a more weird space over time, and It's cool, man. I don't know. It is like kind of a weird little gem of a space that has we've been lucky enough to have some really incredible developers and designers and artists of every respect in there. So, it's cool that these crossovers are happening now with Indiepocalypse,
No,
intentional or unintentional,
no, I don't have time to do a count of like. It's very high. The percentage is very high of like people. I mean, that's also me existing for 5 years, and not repeating contributors. You very naturally get, there's only so many people making games in the world,
Yeah.
but it's also a good thing for me to like, let me check out who these people are. Um,
sourcing some potential future Indiepocalypse. We'll see.
that's what I'm always trying to do. I'm always looking. I'm always trying to like keep up on things. And keep aware of people and keep in the you gotta stay on top of things. You can't just be like because I think it can be very easy to feel like to just kind of get stuck in the 5 or 10 years you started, and those are the people those are the games and not break out of that and look for like new people
Yeah,
or
one thing I love about IF is that like they really emphasize like high quality reviews
yes,
Mm.
in the big like spring thing and IF comp and stuff. And those are like such good ways to find out about, like read other people's reviews of other games and learn about them, but also like all the reviewers are also game makers, so
right,
those relationships are so important.
yeah, because I think uh, there's some the problem of um, not having that kind of space is like event quote unquote reviews are like player feedback is
Mm.
uh, how do I say it, a pox on the medium.
Yeah.
Notoriously not the most helpful thing sometimes. Uh,
Yeah.
I like if game developers can take any advice, if take game developers take any advice from me, stop listening to player feedback. You
My
know,
my friend Roland, who is also in the Indiepocalypse server, he made this game called Puff Tough. And he
is
was
that the
talking
was that
about
the
how
smoking
like
game?
yeah,
I
exactly.
called this I shorthanded to the smoking game, but
It's so funny. I mean, literally you run around and you smoke cigarettes to like chill out, and then
yeah,
you beat up your coworkers,
oh,
and that sort of like increases your rage, which you have to reduce by smoking.
wait, that's incredible. I
And
gotta
yeah,
try this.
it's a great mechanic, but there was some commenter that was, like giving him unsolicited feedback about the sort of like morals behind that mechanic. And he and I were talking about how like people just don't know why games are fun. They don't know what makes them good. Like
right,
we barely do. Um,
Yeah,
so just like I don't know, ignore all negative feedback and
right,
make
right,
be
and
interesting.
especially something like that. I would think of I think an important thing to think is like, well, good thing these aren't real people. um,
Yeah, yeah. It's a good thing it's a
true.
video game.
right,
Good thing
Uh,
it's a video. One of
yeah.
the things that, I see a lot of like students struggle with now is this very thing where
Hmm.
it's like, well, is it good? And I'm like, dude, I don't know. Like, what do you mean? Like, what does that
Literally
even
nobody
mean? Right?
knows. Yeah,
Nobody knows, right? Like,
yeah,
and is it doing what you want it to do is like the question that's
right,
more useful, right? It's like,
yeah.
are you, and then like their heads tend to explode and it's like an awesome moment because they're like, oh my, I didn't realize like I was allowed to do things with games. I thought I just had to make people shoot things. I'm
right.
like,
Or
Right.
just
wow,
I had to
well,
make things people liked.
yeah, I had to make
Yeah.
things people liked. I'm like, well, famously, like art is not loved by every single person that looks at
Hmm.
it. Like that's not what it does. Like it. So it's interesting. Like so much of the discourse about games, is like, well, is it good? Like, is it an 8 out of 10 game? I'm like,
Right,
dude, love you IGN for what you're trying to do. I think, like, but it's how could you ever, you can't describe that. It just like doesn't work that way.
Yeah, it's not a number.
It's not a number. It's so difficult to make it a number, and also like what's fun, quote unquote, to one person is not to another, and that doesn't mean like you can't create just like the universally fun game. Like
Right.
that's
Yeah.
Think
And if
about
you try to, it's gonna suck.
yeah. And if
yeah.
you try to, it's gonna suck. Yeah.
Like I think think of, dear listener, I ask this of you a lot, but think of your friend group. Do you all like the same things? Do you all like the same movies? Do you all like the same music? Do you all like the same games? Of course not.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah,
people like different
we need
things.
diversity. There's this game that I don't remember how I found out about it, but it's by Emily Kuntz and Blake Andrews. It's on itch. It's called Crockpot, and it's like one of it like ignores so many conventions of like professional game design. Um, Conventions that I'm honestly not that familiar with, but
Right.
it's just like you know, there's like scenes where it's just people talking and you're like moving your hand around to pick up French fries and rub them in ketchup. And like it's like one of the best like interactive experiences I've had in such a long time. And it's just like I don't know, like it's a story. It's and they were figuring out the best way to tell a story, and that's literally all that matters. Like you don't need any of the other stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
Blake
There's.
was Blake was teaching at the game center while I was there.
Oh, no way.
And yeah, I never got to take a class with Blake, and
Mhm.
I'm to this day I'm kicking myself for it because I'm like the way that person thinks,
Yeah.
is just so exciting.
It's such a genius. Like every sort of part and every sort of scene of the game has this strange mechanic like that enhances the story that's being told.
Awesome.
But otherwise, you're kind of just like listening to an ongoing conversation, and I don't know. It's so unique. It's another game that's like impossible to sell with like a sentence, but it's brilliant.
Right. And
Have
it's
you
Crockpot.
played Scrapeboard by any chance?
No, I don't think so.
Okay, so Scrapeboard is my favorite Blake Andrews related game, which is like Guitar Hero, but you're playing on a skate deck and you have to
Whoa.
like actually move the physical skate deck around
Okay, I just
on like
Googled this. This is
pads. Yeah,
crazy.
yes.
it's so cool.
I I'm assuming it's going to be a more low key event, so I'm going to Waffle Games like next weekend,
Oh yeah, Waffle Games is great.
and Scrapeboard's going to be there. It's like, oh yeah, so I can check that out
Yeah, bring a helmet.
because
Great helmet.
it was at also at Magfest, but I was busy like all
Yes.
Magfest. And also, if you ever get the chance, Magfest, very cool show. I highly recommend. They have a
It
whole
seems like I've never been, but it seems like such a great vibe about it. Like
yes,
Magfest just has such a good vibe about it, but I have no reason to believe that other than like what I've experienced by the internet, I guess, or via the internet.
yeah, no, because they have a whole like alt arcade section that's like always open, basically,
So cool.
and has like either like custom arcade cabinets and also like a bunch of stuff like Scrapeboard, which is these weird DIY things that don't like fit into any other space.
Yeah,
And
so cool.
it's just also like a good vibe of like their indie showcase doesn't allow like publishers.
Mm,
It's only only creators can submit. Like you have to have made the game to submit your game to it.
that's
Yeah,
awesome.
that's really cool.
And it's like generally a cool vibe, I'd say. Um, Also,
It's
like
also like heavy on music, right? Like it's
yes,
a big
'cause
music fest.
music and games fest.
Oh, that's my 90% of the way kit. I didn't get
Yes.
the music and games
Yeah, yeah,
part.
yeah.
Yeah,
Okay, it's not just me.
I think if
Got it.
and
That
I
was
think
my
I think a lot of the other like I think they have like a specific concert like like mag stock. I think it's just all concerts.
That's cool.
But they have a cool market. It's cool stuff. I'm a fan of. I'm trying to figure out a way to sneak my way into Magfest every year, not having to like what's the word?
Hey.
Not yes, ideally, but not having
Yeah, yeah.
not having to go into the lottery of the market.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Like, how can I convince their indie space to let me in? I'm cooking up reasons. I'm thinking,
We're shouting
That
them
was-
out right now.
yeah,
If you're
right. If
listening,
we shout him
Magfest.
out, We'll write a petition.
Yeah, we love
I
you.
think I've
We'll
talked
do
to
anything.
I've talked to people in there like me, but they're like,
Yeah.
"You're a publisher, though." I'm like, "Yeah, technically, I guess I am."
Ooh, yeah. That's a
Oh
good point.
yeah.
But I think I'm gonna try. Like, what if I run a shop there of all past Mivs contributors or whatever?
Yeah,
Um,
or just the glasses with the fake nose, maybe, and like the
yes.
mustache.
That would be
What if
funny.
I buy a vending machine and have that like in the arcade section, and then I have a table, something, some excuse to put me in the arcade side instead of the market side.
Yeah.
But anyway,
Yo, I'm Calzone Tricks. What's up? I'm a
yes,
games
hello.
developer.
I make indie games. Yeah,
Yeah.
my
Never published anything.
my
Never
alternative
published.
is, yes, alternatively just become like do hardcore game development, and
Yeah,
get
yeah. That
a game into it.
just
Um,
change your life completely.
Yeah, 360 now for the
Yeah.
purpose of and create calzone tricks. I think that'd be awesome. Actually,
Pretty good.
sort of adjacent thinking to my next my thought my next plan to get game coverage is uh, start working in Games Press, and then
Yeah.
Mm.
they'll all know me. Then they'll all like, oh yeah, well, I'll talk about Indiepocalypse now. That seems to be one of the fastest ways to get your game covered.
Networking.
Is to be previous Games Press.
Yeah.
People
good.
want to support the people they know. It makes sense.
That's real.
That's
Um,
real.
um, but or my third alternative is just like I'm just gonna kick back, relax, and take my time. Keep it
Yeah.
cool.
Let it come to you.
Yeah.
Let it come to you. Yeah.
Like the weird thing is like I got a recent, mild spoilers of recent accepted Indiepocalypse submitted games, but
Whoa.
there was one that like uh cited Titanic 2 as like a big inspiration, and I'm
Hmm.
like, I'm like, wait a minute, Indiepocalypse predates Titanic 2. like it has gotten to the point where, and technically an early version of that was in like 14 or 15 back when it was called what was the previous name for that? I think it might have just been the subtitle, like Orchestra of a Dying Sea, um, without the Titanic 2 on it. Um, but it's just like the weirdness of, oh, I've been doing it for so long that like things that were one point entrants are influences for current entrants,
Yeah.
and seeing the kind of the coalescing of an indie space.
The growing influence of Indiepocalypse.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if they found it through that. That seems unlikely. I think Titanic 2 has enough.
No, they did. I'm
It,
I'm
They
saying it
did.
here.
Yeah. No. We're
it,
yeah.
For
We're
sure.
saying it here first.
I think Titanic 2 stands on its own legs very well.
Take that W. That was all you.
That was all you, bro.
But it could have been it getting around. It could have been the Amaze Community Award one. Could have been that it's a great game that I recommend to everyone constantly.
Could have been that it was just sick. I don't know.
Could have been it's very
Yeah.
good.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it is more likely any number of those things. But the it's more the just the feeling of, oh yeah, like, because I've been saying like, oh, give it 5 or 10 years. Like I feel 5 or 10 years ahead of when I would ahead of my time, so to speak.
Hmm.
And I think
Fun fact.
Yeah.
Flan of Titanic 2 fame, or
Yes.
fame, should say Titanic 2 of Flan fame.
Yes.
Fame is like a big is a Boshi's member, I believe, as well. And
Yes.
it's like very still big in the indie game space in New York.
Yeah.
Yeah, and was also around the game center teaching when I was there.
Oh
Yeah.
wow.
And I also did not take a class with them, and I should have.
Yeah.
No, there was what's it called? The semi that game that word that I don't know, that non-existent word that I mentioned earlier that means
On deck was what I was thinking.
on deck. Yes, the on deck. No, on deck means upcoming though.
Yeah. Oh dang, you're right. Second most recent.
Second
Yeah,
most.
pre on deck.
Yeah, I don't know if there is a word for second most recent, but that second most recent game, of course, that I mentioned earlier. I want to remember the order of the words within it. Daydream Heartbeat Cure. Thanks. Oh god, now I'm forgetting the person's name. Um, See, this show was the worst because like in the class
Nicole.
in the classics of like doing a radio show, it's like all the memories leave your brain in this moment because you need to think about them. Um,
Yeah.
um, but who made 10 Mississippi?
Oh, that's Karina Pop.
Karina Pop, who made 10 Mississippi, is thanked within Daydream Heartbeat Cure. And I was like, all
It's all
right.
connected.
I'm like
It's all connected.
and you know that game came out forever ago, and I invited Karina to be in like issue like 14, like an early issue Indiepocalypse. I'm like, oh, that's because I think about like, oh man, people still need to think about like 10 Mississippi, you know, and like I'm always thinking about why is no one thinking about this game anymore, you know. And it feels like I feel like the way game history gets like forgotten so quickly.
So ephemeral.
Yeah, it's so ephemeral. That's what I was gonna say. I
Right.
feel like it's in a way that. Well, the interesting thing about this too is like, um, this doesn't really matter for 10 Mississippi specifically, but
Right.
like, there's platforms also just disappear, and then we lose the access to them unless you like have or to games that use that platform unless you like
Mhm.
emulate them, which comes with its own obvious like kind of legal questions about it. But I don't know. It's like games specifically seem way more ephemeral than other mediums, especially like indie games, like
Right.
art
Yeah.
indie art games, right?
Yeah, I remember when Flash was shutting down and like all
Oh
these like
yeah,
thousands of Newgrounds games that I like grew up playing as a little kid were just like just gonna get erased
yeah. Oh my
from
God, yeah.
history. It's so like yeah, I don't know. They say like everything like lasts forever on the internet, and it's so it can, but probably won't.
Right.
And
Right.
that's like to my to I said initially kind of I wish that I didn't make my game in Unity. Part of the reason why I wish that I didn't make it impermanence in Unity is because like when you tie your work to a tool that like is dependent on a company that may or may not exist, like Flash was with Adobe, right?
Yeah.
Like Unity is now, or like even Unreal is, right? Like the concern then becomes like, well, am I gonna like tie my entire existence like to a tool that may no longer exist or may no longer be supported, like
Yeah.
in some future iteration of life that I don't know? You know what I mean? Like, am I gonna? That's why and to your point about like access of tools being important, right? Like, I am the person that generally does enjoy like tinkering to the point of like, well, is this jump feeling is I don't make games with
Mhm.
a lot of games with jumps in them, but like that like spoke to me of like, yeah, I do enjoy that, but like,
Yeah.
I am the guy that's like, oh, I'll make my own engine. That's cool. Right? Have I done it? Like, no. have I
But
have I tried?
but you
Absolutely.
could.
Right? Could I maybe with enough time, but I think it is important that, to the extent that we can, we keep giving back, but like the tools keep being made accessible, such that they can continue to persist even outside of like whether the company that supports them exists or not. Like that's what's so exciting to me about Godot,
Right.
where it's
Yeah.
like it's just an open source thing, and it is like
Yeah.
feature complete parity with Unity for the most part and Unreal for the most part, like maybe slightly less powerful, but like for 99% of games, right? Like it's going to be
Right.
capable, and
Huh.
it's not going to just disappear, right?
Yeah,
And
you
it's
can
not going
archive
to
your
charge
shit.
you it's not going to charge you a finder's fee anytime somebody plays your game, right?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
shout out Unity, thank God they don't do that anymore.
Fuck Adobe.
Yeah, fuck Adobe
Sorry, are we allowed to
also.
Yeah.
swear?
Yes.
Oh
You're
yeah, are we
allowed.
allowed to? Okay.
Fuck
is-
Adobe. Sorry.
But we're not allowed to disparage corporations.
Oh, I mean, I
shoot.
love Adobe and I love
If they're on the
what they
Okay.
do.
if they're on the New York Stock Exchange, you're not allowed to insult them on this show.
We're not allowed to insult them.
Yes.
Oh,
Goldman Sachs. I'm sorry for what I said during the pre-show.
Yeah. Thank you. Please. Thank you. I mean, luckily it was in the pre-show, but
Yeah.
we respect
Yeah, they're
that
gonna
big
take
that
air,
big
guys.
bull
We
that sits
gotta-
in New York.
Yeah.
We got
Everybody sounded really uncomfortable. It was just me. I'm a rogue.
Yeah.
Rogation.
I was
Don't
like,
take it
oh
out on
God, I love to talk about of course, because I was mentioning earlier that when I was talking about corporate speaking games, what I meant to say is we need more of it.
Right, yeah.
Mm.
Same.
We need more people who are talking about themselves as being vision holders.
Stakeholders, yeah, vision holders.
Thought
Um,
leaders.
yeah, exactly. People who are like, I want to create a hierarchy anywhere. I want to
What I
be.
love in the forums is when somebody will post like, um, I need somebody to make this game. I had an idea,
Yeah.
and it's like a shooter but with roguelike elements, and I need y'all
Oh,
to
I've never
drop
played
whatever you're
one of
doing.
those.
Yeah,
Wait, that's
no, it's
great.
actually a
Somebody
super.
should make that.
Well, no, that's just off the top of my head. So like, if you want to make that,
Wow.
like, you will. I mean, I'll take 90% profit, but like, you can work on it if
Yeah,
you want. But
wow. I might have to, honestly. I
um,
don't think we've ever
yeah,
had one of those.
like the idea that like all these game developers are sitting around waiting for somebody with an idea to show up, and they're just like super talented and educated, but they don't want to make anything is very funny to me.
Yeah, that is funny.
I mean,
Like,
it's
oh,
I
somebody else
also,
wants you to make this dumbass like. Sorry, I'm not trying to
yeah.
disparage,
No,
but
I think we need. Sometimes I think we need more hater energy.
yeah, I'm
Um,
the biggest hater.
yeah,
like
it's
I
in my classes. I banned 6v6 hero shooters.
Let's
I'm
go.
like, you could never make it anyway, but it's
right.
like in the time that we have. But it's the principle. It's like
Yeah.
Yeah,
you're not allowed to make a 6v6 hero shooter, like because I said so and because
yeah,
I'm a hater. You know.
because
Also,
Um,
it's
shout
yeah,
out Affinity. Affinity designer does it's like the same as the Adobe. I mean, we love Adobe because they sponsor our show, but
yeah.
if we were to not love Adobe for some reason, Affinity stuff like you buy it once. Remember when you used to buy something once and then
Folks,
you had
no,
it?
no, I don't remember that.
you know what just works? GIMP. GIMP just works.
So
GIMP
true,
also
Gimp.
just
Oh,
works. Very true. Krita,
Skyrim.
Yeah.
Skyrim,
What else?
famously, it just works.
Adobe
Uh,
Creative
Yeah.
Cloud.
Creative Cloud.
Our other sponsor, Blue Chew and
Yes.
Prime Energy.
I got
Prime Energy.
payday loans. I recommend payday
Yeah,
loans, of course, as any good podcaster does.
we like Chase Bank here.
Oh
What,
my god! And
whatever,
now for our sponsored segment by Chase Bank.
whatever podcast. I see.
Do you need a loan for your game?
I. We mentioned mortgages. I know some of you. We said, oh, "What if you don't have a house to mortgage?" Well, the solution is a loan.
JP
Okay,
Morgan,
look.
baby. Call us up. We got you.
We've got giant predatory loans for you. Ready
Put in the code Pizza Pranks for
Yes.
50% off.
for for
Oh man,
for sharkloans.com.
sharkloans.com. This is a scam.com.
Yeah, it
With
is.
Pizza Pranks, 50% off.
Fucking loans are
Oh man,
loans are a goddamn scam.
Andrew,
We need
can I
we
ask
need more
you a
indie
question?
loan sharks.
Yes.
We need
Like,
indie loan sharks.
we need a guy with a big coat, and he shows up and he's like, "Oh, you wanna make your little interactive fiction game? You want it to be good enough for IF Comp? All right, I'll give you $250,
Yeah.
Yeah, and
and I'll
like
break your thumbs."
opens the trench coat, and there's like $100 bills like hanging from the inside of the trench coat.
Just,
Yeah,
you're right. You just need to wait till IF comp becomes like whatever arbitrarily becomes one of the checklist things that people need to do, like wish lists or whatever. Like
yeah.
like it just like everything just becomes checklisted of like this is how you need to make your thing, make your stuff get out there, and then
You should have to pay to submit to anything.
yes, 100%. I'm opening up paid
Yeah.
submissions to Indiepocalypse.
Paid submissions in the next yeah.
I'm
20
donating my proceeds from Indiepocalypse to Indiepocalypse.
$20.
to my paid submission.
It's funny when people come up to the events and like and I just like give them one of their tapes like I want to buy this. I'm like you're just paying yourself. Why would you
Yeah,
buy it?
that's funny.
I'm like no, just take it. Like you
Andrew,
don't need to.
is it in Indiepocalypse radio history for a guest to ask you a question?
Yeah, it's allowed.
All right, cool. How have you seen it change over the past 5 years? You know,
What?
Like-
Indiepocalypse, you mean?
Indiepocalypse. Yeah.
In
Like
a
the types of games.
in a weird
Yeah,
way.
like the types of games.
Well,
or-
I do. I feel like I do sometimes see like trends come and come and go sometimes. Like I see like, a lot of it is like the rise of engines. Like seeing like a lot of some like Decker games start to get made. Or like the kind of like the emergence of Plunder Core as a concept that people are becoming more aware of. But in kind of like a very sensible way, it hasn't really changed um, to some degree, which makes, in my mind, like, oh, that makes sense
Yeah.
because it's not meant to be like an of the day sort of thing. It's very intentionally meant to be like a starting point, or like Indiepocalypse in a lot of ways is not meant to be like I'm thinking of an email that I'm sending someone in the future. It's not. It's not meant. It's meant to be like a place where you find people. Not like you don't hit Indiepocalypse and then stop. You know, you go, oh, I like that game. Let me check out. I think of it like a what's it called, like an indie show, like an indie comic show or something, where you like you're not going because you want to buy a bunch of T-shirts for the show. You're going because you want to get check out a bunch of individual people's work.
It's like an incubator. Like
Right.
we're like Silicon Valley in here.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
is.
That's what I was thinking.
I
We're
think
innovating.
I'm disrupting the games industry currently.
Disrupting.
Wow, I
Disrupting.
love that you just said that.
I am.
That's quotable.
Thank you. I'm a big disruptor. My philosophy of having no money.
Yeah.
I just did the math of my PAX and Amaze trips after everything, and I made about a week's pay of my day job.
Yeah, but how much synergy did you make?
I made so much synergy.
I'm
lot
saying,
of
like, that's what it's all about.
Somebody who
And the shareholders are ecstatic. Really.
somebody who I emailed probably 50 times about Indiepocalypse every month gave me their business card, and I wanted to be very politely, what am I supposed to do with this? Send you a 31st email that you won't answer? And maybe I eventually will send them that 31st email that they won't answer.
Yeah.
But it is, I think if it's changed at all, it's that it's become, to answer it more seriously, it's that it's become weirdly interconnected. And it feels like it's like, and this is like just a natural thing that would happen. That makes sense. It's become this weird nexus point of developers, of people. At Amaze, Natalie Law had told me like that they had met someone in another game event, and they talked about like, oh, they've both been in Indiepocalypse, and that is kind of like this weird connective tissue among indie devs now. Of, oh yeah, we were both in this thing. It's an entry point, I guess. And it's people like, if I to kind of go from there, people are excited to get into it, I guess, which feels really weird to me.
I was hyped.
I was so stoked.
To
I
see
was so
people
hyped.
to see people like, and I was like, hey, I got into this, and someone would go like, oh, congrats. I'm like, what? Like, that's the weird thing. When someone's like, it happened with this most recent one. Someone's like, oh hey, my best friend is in this, or check it out, I just got into this, and someone's like, oh, congrats on that. And I'm like, because it feels in my mind, this is the nature of the artist and the creator and everything. Of you're like, it always feels infinitely small. Like, why would you be excited to be into this? You're like, you're better than the project.
Yeah, but it's like, I don't know, like, I think in our sort of little sphere, like, there's nothing cooler than just being seen and
Yes,
being involved. Like, when I was 15, I wanted to make the Aragon game, and it was going to be open world.
Yeah.
And
Ooh,
it was going to be a blockbuster. It would have been sick. We could talk later.
Right,
if you
yeah.
have funding available. But but like now, if I get like a review, I'm like, that's awesome. That's why I do it.
Yeah.
I'm not looking for anything else at this point. Like,
right, and Indiepocalypse is my equivalent of like leaving a comment on your itch page that said I really liked your game, which because I just don't like doing that.
Yeah. But getting the little like, oh, I'm on the list. That's great. Somebody likes my game.
That
is
yes,
a lot about games.
That is my version of that, and also like a small peek into the way I interact with art, which is I just throw them in big piles, and then I look at those piles and go, huh, what do I want to pick from? What do I want to pick from the pile today?
That's how I do dishes.
Yeah, no,
I think Umberto Eco, I think, said something like, it was like why do you have a library if you're never going to read everything? And it's like, well, it's because, sometimes I want to reach and look for this, and like I have it now. and I know that it's there, even if I haven't necessarily read it yet. It's like I'll read it in the future when I'm looking
Yeah,
for it.
you're
Right.
giving yourself options and choices in
Yeah.
the future.
And I think also like I mean I agree with you, Kit, like 100%. I also feel like there aren't that many spaces really like for us to be seen, like for this
Yeah,
kind of work to be seen. And so I guess like for me why I was so excited like to be a part of Indiepocalypse was because I was like, oh, like that's the people that I would want to see this. You know what I mean? Like that's who I
exactly.
would
Yeah,
want to get like thoughts from, to get feedback from, to be the people that experience my work, because I think they would like it, right? Or like they
yeah,
would get it and be able to tell me what worked and what didn't in a way that, I would appreciate beyond like the average, it's like the good feedback kind of thing,
hmm
right?
Right.
So I agree with you.
It feels
yeah. Like
like.
I could. Sorry.
Sorry, no, you go ahead.
I mean, like I could show my game at like some big games festival to thousands of people, and like none of them are gonna give a shit because they're just there to watch like the fucking Overwatch 3 or whatever. But
Right.
Yeah.
like I join Indiepocalypse and I instantly see all these people whose like games I've checked out and I love and they're interesting and funny and like I don't know. That's what it's about.
My hope is at any given issue, like the absolute worst case scenario is that people get 9 new fans, of
Yeah,
of their
exactly.
fellow
Yep.
contributors checking out their work, checking out everyone else's work is my hope. That
Yeah.
because really it is all about like it's just stuff that I like. I think about somebody interviewed me for something and he asked me like, "Well, what's the audience for Indie Apocalypse?" I'm like, "It's just me, I guess." Like,
Yeah.
I
People
uh,
who
think the
agree with
beauty of
me.
it, I think the beauty of it though is, yeah, exactly that. It's like there are more people that agree with you than you would think, right? Or
Mhm.
like that, like I guess that's kind of cool, you know?
I think,
Yeah.
yeah, I think it is like a place that is like not social media. I think helps having more places that are not. You mentioned Jordan Maxon games poems earlier. Game poems is
Mm,
another, I a thing that I hope survives more than 1 or 2 releases. Uh,
Yeah.
that is always my
yeah, it's. I think it. I hope so too. I mean,
yes.
I'm on the production team for it, so I
I'm
will
on I'm
definitely
on
try
the
my best.
advisory board.
Ooh, okay.
Um,
See the connections, the
Wow, look at
yes.
that.
connections. Look at
Um,
this.
because I've seen so many like 1 and 2 off kind of things, um,
Yeah.
over the years, and it's like there is like the no contributor rule came out of the assumption that well, if I do this, eventually other people will also start to do these things,
Hmm.
and then like. In the same way as like imagine if like you started an indie record label and then nobody else was also making you're like wait a minute there's
Yeah.
like literally
You got a
no
monopoly.
it's a weird thing to have a monopoly on DIY publishing. A thing that takes no time, no money, and
Just
like
takes effort.
right.
Yeah.
And
It's just in short supply.
I don't recommend people be mad lads and do it like I do every month.
Uh-huh.
Like 10 games every month is like an absurd scale to do it at.
Yeah.
But I mean, also I haven't run out of. Just this last one, I had like, oh, there are games I'm gonna have to. There are waitlisted games on this.
Hmm.
Um,
Got out my waitlisted games. I was waitlisted for 62. Came
waitlisted.
back around for 63.
Yeah,
Let's
waitlist.
go.
If you're waitlisted, just resubmit it. Usually,
Just hang
like
in there. Stay in line.
90
Stay in line.
exact 95
Stay
percent
in
of the
line.
time, if you're waitlisted and you submit to the next one, you just get in.
You literally just wait. It's in the word. Like
Right.
just
Yeah.
It's
It's
because
relax.
a list on which you wait.
I
Stop
feel
freaking out.
I feel weird waitlisting people twice. Because then it feels like then I try to get to their head of like, why would I get waitlisted twice? What's wrong with my game? Um,
Mm.
It
so
means it's twice as good. It's twice as worth waiting for.
right,
Right?
right, of course, but it is. Yeah, they're like I'm looking at right now, and there are games here. Like, yeah, no, these are all. There's I think 6 games that are definitely waitlisted games that I had not. I usually send out the waitlist email on Monday, just because if some I don't. If, it seems like people might respond to it. I don't want to deal with emails on the weekend,
Hmm.
even if they're like, "Oh, thanks for the thing, thanks for the waitlist notification, or whatever." I go, ah. don't feel
Still
like
have to read it.
Yeah, still
Yeah.
have to read it. Still have to think about it. I don't want to think about it.
Don't give yourself that work.
No work on the weekend.
You do enough.
Yeah, this is my work on the weekend, and it's not work. It's fucking hanging out.
You
It's
love what you do.
it's doing what I do at conventions of just like plopping down and hanging out,
Hmm.
or having people come over to me and plop down and hang out.
Hang out.
That's all.
Andrew, can I ask your favorite mineral or rock?
My
Ooh,
favorite
good question.
my favorite type of rock. That's of course post rock.
Uh,
All right, that's it for me, folks.
Yeah.
You will not hear me on here again. Goodbye. Love you.
I mean that is.
Do you like
Hey,
post rock?
what?
Do you like post rock?
I do like post rock. I highly recommend. We're talking about concerts during one of the breaks. The Courtney Barnett, Kurt Vile concert I couldn't go to because I went to TCAF. But I recommend everybody, even if you've never listened to them once in your life, go see a Godspeed show.
Oh yeah, I saw them like 5 years ago. It was
Yeah,
sweet.
Godspeed, you Black Emperor, of course. The full name.
Yeah.
They're incredible shows. Like you feel them in your bones. And
They
it's
got those
just-
songs that are long.
Yes, they got
So,
they got
you
those
like
long
long
songs.
songs.
If you like long songs and multimedia, and like looping videos and
Yeah, and just
I-
like dudes being like, "The car's on fire."
yeah,
Like, get some good voice clips.
it is like yeah, I was able I saw it in RIP the Columbus in Providence.
R.I.P.
All right, hey.
But I saw them there, and I sat behind the projectionist, so I could see like his setup, and it was a very cool like it had a bunch of like film strips on like hangers or something, and they would like loop them in, and it was very cool to see.
That's awesome.
Oh, physical media, I'm like becoming way more of a fan of.
Shout out physical
feel like-
media.
Shout out physical media,
Yeah.
man. Like, I don't know. I feel like I kind of like loosely collected vinyls and cassettes over my I don't because I just thought it was cool because it was like
Yeah.
a cool kid thing to do,
Mhm.
I guess. But now I feel like I have like a real reason where it's like, man, streaming services are kind of bad and exploitative of the artist.
Yeah.
and-
Everything
Like,
else is going away. Like, you need
Yeah.
to hang stuff on your walls.
yeah, right. Like, why do I have to rent everything? Like, can't I just own a thing?
Shoot film. It's fun. Get
I
a,
do
get a
wanna
Canon
shoot
F1.
film.
Dude, it's so sick. I'll send you recommendations. I might even
Please
have
do.
a camera for you, honestly. I have a lot
Yeah,
of film
like
stuff.
I feel like it's just like a cool thing to do, and also like there's like a more of a there's a thing, you know,
Yeah.
like there's an object, like it's like a
Yeah.
real thing that's not on a computer. Like I don't know.
Like, yeah, everything worth doing in 2025 is like something that helps you practice paying attention to something that's not a screen. And
yeah,
like, sadly, we're on
100%
a
agree.
game developing podcast, so
But you know, that is.
So play
No,
our
but, like-
games on screens.
yeah.
But
No,
only
nothing
one-
nothing is better for making games than like going outside and
Yes.
Oh my god, dude!
Looking at
This
stuff.
is the thing. Like I tell I feel like an old head. I'm like, oh, I tell my students this all the time.
Yeah.
But I do tell my students this all the time, where I'm like, you gotta like live life and engage with other media.
yeah.
At the very least, engage with other media. And at the best of times, like go walk outside. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
And
draw a
look
picture.
around. Draw pictures and stuff. Like you have
If you're
to.
listening to this, draw a picture right now.
Real. Seconded. If you're listening to this, draw a picture right now. But it's like
I
it's so
will too.
weird. I feel like games is like this. There's this weird like insularity of it where
Right.
it's like, well, I'm a game player. Like that's what I do, and I
Right.
don't engage with other media. And I'm like, bro, you haven't seen Star Wars Episode 3? Like that shit is crazy. Like that's
It'll
like
make you
it's, like,
appreciate games too.
Yeah.
it really will. Like it really
Yeah.
will. You know, like forget like Citizen Kane or whatever. Love that too, I guess. But like at the very least, like you gotta
Oh,
watch.
fuck Citizen Kane.
Yeah, you gotta watch Episode 3, bro. Like you can't
Yeah.
be this far and not have seen Episode 3.
I
Yeah.
recently rewatched episode 2, and that movie sucks.
Oh, say that.
ass. But it is so. But also, like, I'm glad I saw it. It's a thing I watched with there are movies I watched with my friend because I could not watch them alone. I was like, we had just watched the film classic Constantine.
Ooh,
Hmm.
Uh, And then we had watched. And I was like, let's watch fucking Attack of the Clones.
Yeah.
And
You don't fuck with teenage Anakin?
that movie's like the only person in that movie that knows how to deliver any of that dialogue is Christopher Lee.
Yeah.
Because he has an entire lifetime of delivering the shittiest dialogue ever written.
Yeah.
He's trained for that.
So yeah, exactly, he's an expert, and it was weird, and like him and Ewan McGregor, I'm like, oh, this is like a real actor, and like another actor who's like, these people could like, it was the only scene that was like believable. This 30-second scene, but it looks so cool.
Yeah. The outfits are crazy in them.
Yeah, like
the outfits are crazy.
The design is incredible. And
the
like
battle on Geonosis goes pretty hard.
That's true.
And like the thing, like it looks as good now as like it ever would have, and it's like, oh no, this stuff still looks good, but like,
well, I think Lucas went and like redid all the CGI, didn't he?
Maybe.
Oh, did they?
Yeah, like
That's
if you
cool.
stream it nowadays, I think there's 2 versions of it, and the most common one, like he did it with the movie, the pre-Star Wars movie that sounds like the name is like one of Elon Musk's kids. Yeah. It's
whatever
like
it is.
yeah, but he like
That
did all
movie's
the.
really
I was
good,
watching
too.
it, and it's from like the early 70s. I think it's like Robert Redford or something, and it's got like modern CGI. It freaked me out so bad. I was
Right.
like, wait, this
But
looks so good.
There's also the charm though of even if it's bad, like a thing made by a weird guy.
Yeah, I prefer it to be bad. My favorite director is Cronenberg. I love the janky like practical nasty stuff. You can see the strings.
Yeah,
It's THX 1138, by the way.
Yes.
Yeah.
It does sound like an Elon Musk kid.
That is just
before Elon Musk kids.
Yeah.
That was produced by Coppola. Whoa.
Yeah.
So now I'm on the Wikipedia page.
Oh,
I'm like,
that's
whoa.
Yeah,
JD,
watch that movie and then make a game.
How much do you know about my man Roger Corman? Like,
not enough.
Oh,
Literally.
okay. Spend some time researching Roger Corman, and like how like Scorsese and like all those dudes came up through Corman and all that stuff. And like Corman is like a fucking king of cinema that doesn't get the respect he deserves.
He was a producer.
Yeah, and he made a lot of like low budget stuff. All those Vincent Price horror movies.
Oh hell yeah!
Oh,
my mom loves those.
Are all Corman movies.
I gotta look into this. I do not know this guy.
But Roger Corman, like, we're not going to get too into the film history of Roger Corman, but Roger Corman basically. Roger Corman is
I wonder.
Roger Corman is so cool. I mean, maybe Roger Corman said shitty stuff. I don't know. Who knows? But let's say
he probably did.
Let's say
we're not canceling him on this show, but maybe next episode.
The conceptual idea of Roger Corman, okay, is that like that he is like this like weird like indie film like luminary in some ways. He made a lot of shit fast and quick, but also gave a lot of interesting people work.
That's kind of the indie games vibe.
Yeah, like if you look at, I mean, let's just go on Wikipedia. What Wikipedia does. Yeah. Also,
I'm looking at it right now. It's like Jack Nicholson, Fonda.
Right.
Like, wow.
Right. Yeah. The director is Coppola himself, Ron Howard, Scorsese, Jonathan Demme, Peter Bogdanovich, Joe Dante, James Cameron, John Sayles. Yeah, like tons of. And I forgot that they also like brought over all like a lot of those like Fellini and Bergman stuff too.
Oh wow, that's awesome! Everybody watch Breathless.
And,
what else?
400
and draw
blows.
a picture right now.
Yeah, draw a picture. Look up Roger Corman.
And then draw a picture of him.
Watch Fellini. Watch 8.5.
Yes, just sit down.
Make a video game version of 8.5.
Right. Make your video game interpretation of what 8.5 is to you.
Yeah. We'll drop the rest of your homework in the show notes.
There's also a very good, and I think this is like the power of like, one of the nice things I think about like the fact that it didn't happen on social media. There's an interview. I heard it through an album, like because an album. I think there's an album that like sampled it. A clip from a Twilight Zone, Roger Sterling interview, or like roundtable he did at some university in like New England or something. But in that he talks about like I think he references like I think Fellini saying Fellini only makes movies. He's like, I only make movies for myself, and he's like, hey, that's good for Fellini, you know. But I gotta. He's like, I recognize also that like I don't just make movies for old Roger. Like he's talking about his philosophy of recognizing that there's an audience, and he kind of like interprets that there's an audience. But I was like, oh, it's nice that this like did not like is a statement that someone could have that doesn't have 30 quote tweets on top of it, and then Fellini jumping in the comments and like.
And being like, well, that's not what I actually meant.
Or like conversation being given room to breathe, you know.
Mm-hmm.
I got off social media like pretty completely, I would say, over the past like 6 months to a year, and I don't regret that decision whatsoever. Like the only one I still have is LinkedIn because like I feel like I need it.
The most cursed one.
Literally the most cursed one. But I feel like it's like if any of them are like you have to be on this, like that is the one where I feel like you actually have to be on it.
Right. I
was on Twitter and then I went to Blue Sky and then like Blue Sky just kind of became Twitter again and it like there's and like I think we were talking about it in the pre-show or something where it was like it just kind of becomes people yelling loudly and I don't know.
We need a new place.
Yeah, your new place
not
is
a website.
In person.
Yeah,
it's my
that
house.
might be the place.
Boston,
come through.
Come over.
Yeah,
I'll make you some tea.
Just come hang out and just like lounge on someone's couch. That's the new space.
Yeah. I'll leave the door unlocked.
Yeah. Whoa, that's a danger.
Hey, listen, I'm trying to build community here.
Yeah.
Just build the community. Hold up.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of local community, I need this is a term the kit you are familiar with, but despite it being a local thing to me, I never knew what it is, and I'm asking you to explain it to me. Kit, what was the cop slide?
Oh wow! Do you know about my relationship with the cop slide?
Yes, I know you have a relationship to the cop slide. Like you were the famous cop slide photographer, I believe.
Yeah, that's right. Okay, so some of you have seen that viral video of there's a playground near Government Center in Boston, and one of the like. So the sort of main attraction is this like climbing like I don't know what to call it. This like multi-level like playground that it goes up like 30 or 40 feet and then there's a long metal slide that comes down from it.
Okay.
And there was a viral video that went around a couple years ago of a esteemed officer of the law sliding down it and absolutely eating shit, just like sliding down like on his face. Yeah, you've probably seen it. It was very popular for good reason. It's stunning. He comes down at like 100 miles an hour. We don't really know why. We think it might have been like he had like a lot of plastic like gear on, and I think that reduced his friction on the slide. That's my theory. But he comes down and absolutely eats shit, like drops his gun. And this went viral.
I just looked it up. I have seen this video.
Yeah, it's fantastic. There's some good edits.
It has a Wikipedia page.
Yeah, as it should. But I was walking. I was drinking in the city like a couple nights after this incident, and my friend and I walked over to the playground to see if we could check out the slide. And because the police had been sort of like embarrassed by this, they had like. It had become like a tourist attraction and people were like going and trying to like recreate like the cop eating shit. And so they like put up barriers at the bottom of the slide. So like you couldn't you couldn't come out of it. And then, I tried to climb up to the top anyway. And a cop was there and yelled at me. And so I like took some photos and posted them on Tumblr. And then they ended up in like the Boston Globe and like a couple other places. Cause I just was like, it was a drunk post where I was like, Boston cops won't let you on the slide because they hate fun or something like that. And then my quote was in the Globe. It was outrageous. It was so crazy.
Yeah, truly. Okay, I'm glad I got important pieces of lore because I was like, I want to look at this at some point, but I'm like, what if I just wait? Because I'd never seen, because a lot of times I don't, like, I'm a very back and forth online person, and that I'm often not. I often get it secondhand through people.
Hey, that's a good way to live, but this one's really worth watching.
Yes, I did watch it just now. It is very worth watching.
It's awesome.
Because he like the cop really eats it. Like,
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
like that guy's in pain. Like, there's
yeah,
no way he just
yeah,
walked that off. Like, he went straight down on his face.
yeah.
Like,
He couldn't smile about that one. And
yeah,
like I don't know, I kept like newspapers were like asking me if they could post my photo and my quote, and I kept asking them for free shit, and none of them would give me anything. And it was so like
oh,
I was like, just give me like I know you have those little notepads that you take notes in for journalism. Like I went to school for journalism. I know
Right.
you have them. Give me a paperclip. Like
Yeah.
give me something to make me feel like this is worth my while. And they're like, oh, it's not our policy to pay for like independent photo contributions. And I'm like, man, I shouldn't have given the Globe my photo. You know
I
what?
just looked up the Globe piece, and I
Yeah,
see it right here.
yeah. I think they quoted me on it, but like I couldn't even like give a bespoke quote, and like the Globe fucking sucks. They like misgender people all the time. The official Indiepocalypse stance
Yeah.
On the Globe.
is that the Boston Globe sucks ass.
Hey,
Yeah, I have the quote. The person who posts about the barricades on Twitter, they didn't even throw your name in. Come on, Boston
Damn, that's
Globe.
brutal.
Said the playground was also quote being patrolled by people who hate fun. Unquote. That is an
Yeah,
incredible
The-
quote. Though.
yeah.
That is a great
I would
quote.
say that the Globe's only claim to fame is that it's not the Herald.
That's
Mm.
real. That's actually true. It could be worse.
Yeah, it could be the Herald. Let's get into some real fucking hyper local shit talking
Yeah.
of newspapers.
Can we talk about Nicholas Oliverdian, that Providence guy who like went to Scotland to like escape charges and then like pretended to be like a British professor? I
Wait,
know it's four
what?
o'clock right now, but never mind. It's too
Yeah.
late. It's fine. Just
No,
Google him.
just like
I know what I'm doing after this.
Yeah, it's crazy. Read his wiki. It's so funny.
Joey JD. Do you know about the fucking mobster that ran Providence for a while?
Oh yeah, I went to undergrad at Brown. So
Oh,
like,
okay, you
Brown
know all
Town
about
was,
that.
Like our,
Oh
yeah, that was
man,
our whole thing.
oh man, oh
Yeah, he owned that shit. He ran that shit like the Navy. It was crazy. It was like,
the
but this is a new one to me. Nicholas
I'll drop the link.
Alverdian. Please drop the link.
Oliverdian, yeah.
Oliverdian.
Rhode Island is so funny. It's just like
Rhode
it's
Island's
the
hysterical,
tiny
man.
little like state that's like all strip malls and like every car wash is like a mob front. It's so sick.
It's so funny.
I've known people that like were from Rhode Island. They're just like there's the culture of you don't drive more than 20 minutes if you than anywhere, you know, of like, oh, I'm not going to do
Yeah.
this job because I have to drive more than 20 minutes.
Yeah.
I also are they? Let me see. I wonder if they're still doing more hyperlocal shoutouts that I give on the show often. Let me check out if they are still showing it. I highly recommend.
Oh, the apartment.
Yes,
Right?
going to Providence Place Mall
Oh my
Providence Place
god.
Mall.
and going to see Secret Mall Apartment.
Oh, I
Mall
heard about
apartment.
this.
Yeah, it was good. I
Hell
saw it.
yeah.
It was awesome.
I saw it in the Providence Place Mall.
Oh, that's so cool.
That's awesome.
Is it? Because it was like, oh, it's only for a week, and they just keep extending it basically forever.
Secret Mall Apartment.
It is still
Just
there.
Google Secret Mall Apartment.
Yeah, Secret
Yep.
Mall Apartment. I mean, I think it's a good movie anyway. It's a good movie about art and like gentrification.
Yep.
Yeah.
I think it's just like a good documentary. But you can also. Okay, so the shorthand, if you're not familiar with a Secret Mall Apartment, there's this empty kind of like void space in the construction of the Providence Place Mall, and some artists built an apartment inside of it.
Awesome.
Because they fucking hated the mall because they tore down Thunder Mountain. Thunder Mountain was like an old mill. The other fun thing about New England, 90% of this shit is old mills.
Yo.
The death
Yeah.
of the decaying husk of industry that is no longer
Yeah.
here.
We love polluting water
Yes,
in New England.
and then all the water polluting things went out of business. So then artists went into them, and then the spaces got gentrified.
Yeah. Shout out Mill 5 in Lowell. They
Yes,
just like kicked out a bunch of people there.
yeah, I would.
It's such a cool place, but yeah.
I went to go. I went all the way to Mill 5 to see what's that Yuasa movie about the girl who gets drunk all night?
Oh. Yeah, the cinema is cool there.
It's a long night walk on girl, something like that.
How was it?
I liked it. I'm a big fan of I mean, I know they've gotten very big, so I don't know.
Yeah.
I can't speak for all of their like, that student, the Science Saru, like Not a short walk-on girl.
Gotcha.
So I can't speak to their entire like increasing filmography or whatever, but like especially like you watch a Mind Game and you're like, damn, these people love animation. They love to animate shit.
Shout out animation.
Yeah.
Shout out animation. Agreed.
Shout out movies.
Shout out
I love
movies.
like visuals, moving visuals and sounds.
Yes.
Those are huge for me.
Yeah.
There's a way that you can make those interactive too, like
Not a
that,
fan.
that they like.
Nope.
Not as
not
as
interested
Yeah.
anymore.
I
See,
understand.
I feel kind of
I get
nauseous.
it.
Seems a little extra for me.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
might be a little too much for.
Oh,
I
let's just
get
keep
it.
adding. Let's keep adding more
Yeah.
and more and more. We don't need more. We need less.
Yeah. Let's
We
take
need
this.
text.
We don't even actually sound optional.
Sound
Yeah.
optional.
Yeah.
We need take key, use key on door. That's what
Use
we
key
need.
on
Yes.
door.
That's games.
Agreed.
That-
Well, I didn't say the G word. I wasn't even gonna go there. I was
Okay.
just talking. You know.
But that should be
Sorry.
games. Games are about two things: finding keys, opening doors with those
Yeah.
keys.
Game is you try
That's
to
a
open a
quote.
door, you can't. Oh, time to find a key. That's games.
Yes.
If you're
That's a
clicking
quote right
ahead,
there.
you've massively made a mistake.
Yeah.
If heads are being clicked on, we've
Yeah.
gone too far.
I
You need to stop. You need to reevaluate.
Yes.
Fair.
I need to go make sure.
Agreed, frankly.
I need to go make this screed from the post. Yes. Nice short. Oh, someone in the chat covered me. It was nice. Yes, thank you. In the chat, I had a different incognito window open, looking up the title, while someone in the chat just provided it for me.
Thank you, chat. Shout out to
Thank you,
chat.
Chop.
Yes,
Shout out, Chop.
and also I am excited for anyone to start. Also, like watch a bunch of those Poe Corman movies. They just rule. Like
Yeah.
all those like those Poe Corman, Vincent Price. Man, Vincent Price though.
What a legend.
What a king! Like
Legend.
king among kings. Just
horror
like,
king.
that guy's like American. He just talks like that.
He was just like that. Something happened. Nobody knows what.
Yeah. There's a great picture, like one of the top 3 showbiz pictures of Vincent Price holding a bunch of cats.
Whoa,
Oh, that's hard. That goes hard.
that's awesome.
Let me find
really
let me find that picture. There was that often jockeys in my brain with that and the picture of the Bob Biggs boy, the picture for the Bob's Big Boy,
Oh,
of David Lynch and John Waters,
yeah.
which is another like all timer.
R.I.P. Lynch.
There we go. There it is. Vincent
Oh,
Price-
that's
Oh, that's
incredible.
awesome.
He just got
He's
That's
mean
awesome.
mugging. He's got four giant. Those are like Maine Coons.
Yeah, he
those
got-
are
Oh
big
my
old cats.
God.
huge ass. I don't know
Wow.
why he's holding a bunch of cats.
That's
But-
the dream.
That is the dream.
That's beautiful.
But anyhow, yeah, and I think that's like if you want to keep it in the realm of games, I think games go celebrate your weirdos more. You know,
Yeah.
I
Gas
think,
up the freak in your life.
yeah, I think people too often like, I think there's the emphasis. I think there's a fine line to toe between oh yeah, games are all games are collaborative work, but also you can have real freaks and weirdos that are like very important.
Yeah.
Like I don't think there are probably some real douches, maybe your Truffaut or whoever, who are like, no, I made this movie.
Notch.
But I think when a lot of the people you think of as auteur directors would talk up their crews they work with all the time,
Yeah.
and also work with those people all the time because they like them so much.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like you start out like in games and in indie film and in sort of all like indie forms of art, you have to like be true to yourself to start. You have
Yeah.
to make shit that everybody hates and everybody gets mad at you. And then you gradually find the people who vibe with it.
Yeah,
And you David Lynch had Laura Dern,
Right.
find your Laura Dern,
Yep.
make something freaky that people get mad at you for. Rock on.
yeah,
You got
Couldn't
this.
agree more. Rock
Right.
on.
right. Find like yeah. I'm gonna find the people who are willing to go through this weird journeys with you.
Yeah.
And just like make the
Because you're on a journey, right? Right.
yeah.
Andrew?
I'm
You're
on a
your
journey.
right now.
I'm taking
Yep.
the next adventure. Speaking of journeys, we're gonna start closing up this journey, and go to my next journey, which is eating leftover pizza from the other day.
You're kind of the Roger Corman of indie games.
Yeah.
Genuinely, if I had the money, I would be. I would
Yeah.
like
Man.
if I had a bunch of money, I'd be like, yeah, let's make games fucking fast and dirty. Let's bring back licensed games to like
Nasty.
Let's fill our coffers.
Paul
with,
Schrader Hardcore is a video game.
Yes.
Ooh.
What is the autofocus of video games? Do we have one?
Y'all donate to Indiepocalypse.
Yeah, donate.
Can
to
you do that?
Indiepocalypse.
Is there a way to do that?
I mean, I think you could like buy it and then spend a lot of money and like
Buy Indiepocalypse.
and then
Spend a lot of money on Indiepocalypse.
right and then just
Also
like
donate to. Sorry.
yeah, go ahead.
Donate to Neriscope. They're
Yeah.
like
Woo!
$2,000 from their goal. 2 weeks left. You know, we can get
Yeah,
there.
please.
Right,
Woo!
because the point of it, and I'm prepping. This is a main point of I'm giving a more hyperlocal plugs. In 2 weeks, on the 18th, I believe, in MIT Open Space, I'll be giving a talk for Boston Indies about DIY publishing.
Ooh, that's gonna be cool.
And the secret of
That's cool.
and my thing I've been thinking, so I've been like thinking about the talk in my brain, and a big part of the secret of DIY is that you're not actually doing it yourself. Like
Yup.
a big
we do it together.
right. The big part of like DIY art is actually very community oriented and like collaborative.
Yeah, we share assets. We share ideas.
Yeah, exactly. So
That's
it's not
the same $20 bill.
exactly.
Yeah.
So like you take that money and like you just like you put it into like, you know, in the same Indiepocalypse cannot be the be all end all whatever of indie games. Even if it was like ultra successful, I'd be like, well, no, you also have to support like everything else too, like Narrowscope and everything, because you can't just like. It feels too often that people just want to find the successful thing and be like, and just put all their eggs in that successful basket or whatever.
Yeah. You got to diversify your assets.
Right.
Yup. To
Gotta
make
go
the
outside.
stakeholders happy.
And talk
Yeah.
about things that aren't successful. Like,
Chase Bank.
like it does feel too often like, you know, people wait for something to be successful, and then it's like, oh yeah, now this game is important because it got a bunch of money or rewards or something. And it's like,
No.
hey, be like the weirdo who, you know, likes things that none of your friends like or whatever.
Yeah. Being the only one to like a fucked up game is like such a
pretty cool.
rare pleasure. It's
Yeah.
awesome.
Yes. Like be your fucked up unrelatable friend. I mean, like
Yeah. Be the one nobody wants to listen to talk about games.
right.
Oh my god, yeah. Be the one that will talk endlessly about a game that nobody's played.
Yeah.
Nor
Nor wants to.
Yeah.
wants to. Agreed.
Yeah.
I think one of the early segments I think I had on the show was like share your favorite piece of like it was share a piece of non-game art, but I think when I tried was like share your favorite piece of unlikable art. Or unrecommendable, I think is how I called it. But I think it was too hard for people, like they didn't know fully what it meant off the top of their heads, you know?
Yeah, yeah.
But like you kind of like know what you know it if you know it. Like it's like, oh, a thing that I love, but like hard to just
Yeah.
like
I'm not gonna
casually
tell anybody about this.
Right, it's hard to casually recommend to people.
Yeah.
I think even from its lofty position at the top of like the Sight and Sound poll or whatever, I think, you know, it's hard to just like go to your aunt and be like, you should watch Jean Dielman, you know.
Just listen to Metal Machine music.
Right, yeah.
Death Grips may be that for me.
Oh well, okay. My mom does like Death Grips.
What? Your mom's cool.
She's
Your
so
mom's
cool. I love my
very
mom.
cool.
Shout out my mom.
Shout out
Andrew.
Shout out to
Kid's
mom,
You
folks.
are awesome.
Shout out
yeah.
moms. Oh my god.
Uh,
Yeah, I think Death Grips would be that for me, but your mom is cooler than me, so that's
She's cooler than
Maybe not
anybody.
good.
She's cooler than anybody I know. She likes Linkin Park.
ooh.
Before they were cool, she liked them like
Before they were cool?
Hybrid Theory, Meteora.
So
Ooh,
yeah.
Linkin Park, okay. Let me say thing about Linkin. They are
Let's
way
talk Linkin Park.
they are way
talk
more
Linkin Park.
musically interesting than a lot of their contemporaries.
Meteora is one of the greatest albums
Like-
of the 2000s.
Like I think some of the lyricism I can give and take, but like
Sure.
but like musically they're like way more interesting than like the other like new metal acts of that era, you know.
Yeah, and if you were around then and you had to listen to like Saliva and shit,
Right.
like you would know how good they are.
Right, it's like a revelation. It's like when I listen
Yeah.
to like the Black Parade, you know. I'm like, "Oh,
Yeah.
these guys are different."
Yeah, this is a
Yeah.
10.
Yeah,
Like
this
even
is
that
some.
song Cancer, it's kind of a bummer. They're all good.
Yeah, but this is some fucking theater kid shit. Also,
Shout out MCR. I'll always
yes,
love you.
That's how I feel about Panic at the Disco. Panic at
Dude,
the
their first
Disco.
two albums,
Their first two were
stunning.
good. Yeah, no, I agree. And then they became theater kid shit. And I was a theater kid, so you know what
oh,
I mean? Like I'm not even gonna from
Vices and Virtues
experience.
had like one banger, and it's because Ryan Ross fucking wrote it. Shout out Ryan Ross. I'm sorry they
Mm.
kicked you out. You were the good one.
this is a journey I cannot go with you on, and I think this is perfect. I
Everybody streamed Pretty Odd.
I can tolerate that one part, like the first 30 seconds of that song about what's that song, you know, the bridegroom and all that
well,
stuff.
imagine.
Yes, I can. I can. And the thing is, I can only really tolerate the first. Once I get into the rest of the song, I'm like, don't like it, not interested.
No, listen to Pretty Odd. It's like chamber pop. It's like a bunch of like 19-year-old kids who are trying to do the Beatles. It's so sick.
That does sound kind of funny. But anyhow, music. There's a lot of it. I listen to a lot of music. We go down a giant hole of music. But I think also it exemplifies the concept of like, I think music is where people are the most divergent. Like, I find like among my friend group, that is definitely where we have the most varied taste. Is like, you know, there are some nice tent poles or whatever, you know, that people go around, but everyone's favorite things are like the most diverse. No one's like, oh,
Yeah.
Is less often is there like everyone going to this common touchstone, I think.
Yeah. And it's good. It's better that way.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. I was gonna say I feel like that's like one of the like really nice things about this is maybe one of my hottest takes, but I think we're probably in the best era for music ever, just because of like the democratization of the ability to listen to crazy shit.
Right.
Yeah, and make crazy shit.
And make crazy shit. Like, how would you hear like half of the people that are cool? Like 100 Gex, right? Like,
Yeah.
is like, how would 100 Gex have happened in like the 60s?
Right.
You know, it just like,
couldn't have. Yeah.
it just couldn't have happened, right?
Right. There. I mean, there were of course weirder. You know, you have your fucking Captain Beefhearts that were around.
Yeah.
True.
Yeah.
Very true.
But it's like everyone can. It's we're at a point where it's easier for everyone to listen to like weird underground stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And
Music is kind of the games of sound, if you think about it.
it is.
Cool.
Music is all about finding a locked door and then finding a key.
And opening and finding the key
Yeah.
to that door.
Showing other people the door.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I only listen to songs
And they're
about
like,
people.
I'm never looking for this key. Like,
I
don't
only
want
listen to
the
songs about doors.
key.
Yeah.
Keys.
Like, this sounds
Or
like
not
ska.
Ah. Well, Scott's famously
Shout out ska.
Scott's famously about picking it up. And
That's right.
What they're talking about that is the key. They're talking about picking up keys.
There it
Yeah.
is.
And then it's kind of like implied that they then use it to open doors.
To open
Right.
the door, yeah.
When you think about like, why do you think like the whole two-tone and everything? Two-tone. We think, you know, black and white. Of course, we think of course like, you know, racial unity, but also keyboards.
Yeah.
And
The checkerboard,
yeah, it's all about
binary code.
it's all about keys on a keyboard as well, which are
Oh my
keys.
god.
That ska band, The Specials, was actually named after Tekken
Yeah.
because all the characters have specials.
Yes.
That's some lore you won't hear anywhere else.
Yeah, you heard it here first.
Yeah, you will not hear it anywhere else. I
You will not
guarantee you
hear it
that.
anywhere else.
Unless a message to you, Rudy, is like Rudy. What it's really about is like Rudy needs to fucking stop being so salty about losing a Tekken. All their songs
Yeah.
are about.
It's all about Tekken, really.
Folks.
It all comes down to Tekken.
Yeah,
That's
and even
true.
if you think we're joking, do listen to the specials.
Please, they're awesome.
Yeah, I did a ska night once where I did like a small like little walkthrough ska timeline. It was fun. Like
That's
also,
fantastic. The
like-
different waves.
yeah, and even going to the earlier stuff, folks like fucking. I will say this emphatically that Toots and the Maytals, like Pressure Drop, is one of the greatest songs ever written. It's incredible. Like if you've not listened to Pressure Drop,
Stream pressure drop.
yeah, go find Pressure Drop. And it's like, damn,
Buy pressure drop on a physical medium and then
Yeah,
plug it
on a
into
record.
that medium. Yeah.
Then
get
draw a
record.
picture on the record.
Do you-
then
Yeah.
play it,
I believe.
And then put it in Indiepocalypse radio chat.
Yep.
Right now.
please.
Please.
Do I have? Oh yes, I do. Do I have a? I think I have a vinyl version of Ska Dream somewhere in this room.
Put that shit on, brother.
Um,
Play us
Ska,
out.
Play us out.
I'm
Play
not gonna
us
play.
out. Oh!
I'm not doing an audible to play. I'm doing the regular play out of
Okay.
my regular Imposter Syndrome play out song because that's my go-to. Um,
Thank you for having us.
yeah,
That's so
no.
fun.
Before
Thank you
before
so
we get
much
into
for
the
having
wrap
us.
up, do either of you have any kind of crucial statements we get to non-promotional ones before we get to wrapping up? Because then we'll get to the promotional ones.
Uh, non-promotional crucial
Or
statements.
questions or like
Drink more water.
yeah,
Mm.
I've got a giant thing that has over 112 ounces next to me.
That's
Oh,
nice. I gotta get one of
that's
those.
nice.
They're super cheap.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not support the weird game dev. I mean, that's probably we've heard that 100,000 times today.
Yeah.
If not beforehand, but keep doing what we're doing, I guess. And be just
Tune in
keep on
next
keeping
week.
on. Tune in next week. Drink
Yeah.
water.
I won't be
Yeah.
here next week. I'll be in New York next week.
Do not tune in next week.
There
Do
will
not
be
under
no
any
show next week.
circumstances.
Go
Yeah.
to
Find something else to do.
go to some college in New York that I forget what it is, and go to Waffle Games 8.0. I will be there.
Hell yeah.
Week after that, go to Drexel.
Yes.
Yes. Then
And-
you go to Drexel.
And bring all your money because you're gonna want to spend it.
Yeah. So this is what you do in like 3 days. If you're listening to this live on the 10th, go down to Bench Press over in Rhode Island in Providence.
Ooh.
Check out Roadie Arcade and go hang out there.
Well, that's a new thing. That wasn't there when I was in Rhode
It
Island.
is not. No,
This is like a
Roadie
new
Arcade is
thing.
literally this year. It was made.
Oh shit. Okay.
Wow.
It's like a game arts group in Providence that literally just started.
Yeah, because I was there. I was like, this is brand new. This
Yeah.
is so cool. I wish it was there when I was there.
Yeah, no, yeah, that was the the impetus for it. Of like, there are people who make games in Providence, like, but there's no like cohesive like scene or like group that meets up at all. So that's what that
awesome.
is.
Go to that. Yeah.
Yeah,
Go to that.
Go to that, and then this Saturday go to where is Waffle Games?
City College.
Which college is that?
I think it's City College in New York.
Yes. Okay. Go there. I'll be there. A bunch of other people will be there,
I
presumably.
might be there, honestly.
I will be extremely in and out there that day. I'm taking the train in, going to Waffle Games, taking the train out, because on Sunday I will be up in Toronto at the Indie Game Emporium as part of Toronto Games Week, hanging out in Houndstooth for that day, and then I got on Monday. I'm probably just gonna be hanging out. I'll probably go to the Beguiling or whatever and go. I'm not buying fucking Phoenix for $10,000, even if they are Canadian, even if it is a complete run.
Beguiling is sick. Shout out Beguiling.
Yeah, I am so pissed that like TCAF is the week before, and as someone who's like goes to Mice and buys like something from every table.
Who's your favorite Canadian comic artist?
My favorite Canadian.
My favorite Canadian is Carly Rae Jepsen.
Wow,
I know
that's a good answer.
that wasn't the question, but
No, but
I
I
mean,
fuck with
answer
it.
The thing is, off the top of my head, I'm trying to think off the top of my head because the only one I know that is 100% Canadian on top of my head is Kate Beaton.
Ooh, Beaton's great.
But yeah,
I like Michael DeForge.
yes, Michael. Yes,
Yeah.
okay, yes, Michael DeForge. Also, I have like.
I figured you would probably.
I got like all of Michael DeForge's books.
Yeah, he's awesome.
Is Jane May Canadian?
Ooh, I don't know.
I know a lot of their work was published. They know they're like seem to be friends with Canadians and published.
Yeah.
And their work was published by Koyama Press, which I think was Canadian.
Oh, shout out Koyama. I think they shut down.
Yeah,
but
RIP
that was
Koyama.
another instance of like a rich person just putting their money towards making a community good. And
Right.
like, look at all the culture and art we got out of that.
So much good stuff was like you would be well served in the comic scene by like just getting a Koyama Press like
Yeah.
full line of all their stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Shout out Patrick Kyle.
Yeah, shout out to REP Pow. Rest in or then long live Pow 2. Yeah, and I joke like this, but also it's like I wish I could do this more with games. You know,
Yeah.
I could just like rattle off all these weird indie publishers
hmm We need
that
more indie publishers.
that were, especially that are publishing like weird art stuff. You know,
Yeah.
because I feel like people are like not publishing the video game equivalent of like, and a lot of people are making the video game equivalent of what people like Michael DeForge are making,
hmm
but
But the regular like zine thing that you do, like the publication and the
yeah,
tapes and everything, is so like that really fills like a niche. And not completely. The niche is not full.
no,
Other people
no,
should be doing that shit.
a niche can't be one person.
Yeah. Yeah.
But the thing is like it sells well. It sold well at PAX, you know, and that's where like gamers go, you know.
Yeah.
But it did well there.
Real
and-
gamers fuck with this.
Yeah, real
Yeah.
gamers do
You
fuck
just gotta
with
show it to them.
real gamers fuck
True.
with weird art. Like,
Yes.
and the thing I think people forget is most people don't like grow up like you aren't born with like weird art in your like DNA or whatever. Sometimes you're
First time you see Duchamp's fountain, you're like, what?
you're like fuck that
Like,
dude.
wh-
That's
wh-
just a toilet. I
fuck
can make a
that guy.
toilet.
That's a toilet.
That should
Yeah,
be
I
a
can
toilet.
make a toilet.
I
And
can
then
No,
you're
but
like,
you need
oh,
to-
wait a minute. Maybe I can.
right.
No, not like that.
Not
No,
like that.
can you contextualize a toilet? You know,
Ooh.
Yes.
Can you? Wow.
right?
Wow.
That's a
That's
thinker.
those are the questions of art. You know,
Sponsored
Yeah.
by Chase. Can you
sponsored by Chase
contextualize
Bank. Thank you,
the
Chase Bank.
Thanks, Chase.
Thank you. Thank you, Chase Bank. Thank you, Prime Energy.
Thank
But
you.
you're so right. Like once you find the weird ass game, that's half the battle. Next
Yeah.
you have to proselytize and get other people.
Yeah,
Find your weirdest friend and be like, yo, there's this game where you play as like one of Cleopatra's mistresses and it's like 150,000 words.
you're right.
You're like, whoa.
You gotta check that shit out.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
like
Nobody else is going to.
Yeah.
There was no greater feeling than like both when I was at MagFest, someone coming like, "Oh, we played these games in our hotel room. Give us more. We want another one."
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
like, there were people who had like bought something from an anime con in Atlanta, and then they like, "Oh, we moved up to Boston," and they're like, "Oh, I've got like 3 of them in Atlanta, and I loved them. I want to get more of them."
That's so cool.
Because there is a part of me like this nagging voice in the back of my head that feels like, you know, I'm selling people quote unquote indie games, but
Mhm.
they're gonna feel like tricked that they got weird art shit.
Yeah, yeah.
But I don't know. I feel like the circle is
Yeah.
the Venn diagram is
But-
closer to a circle.
And I think
I
If
think a
they
lot
don't
of
like
indie
the weird
games-
art shit, then they deserve to get pizza pranked. in my
right,
opinion.
and I think
Yes,
more people
or
are like
Calvin
open
trick.
to it than I think people give them credits for. You know,
Yeah.
people have a
Shout out One Last Game,
Yeah.
like Goose Ladder Games. That was the first
Mm.
like weird indie game I think that I ever played. That was like some people made it for a game jam at some point, and I just like happened to find it on itch, and then it like became my personality. Shout out to that one game that you played that was like, damn, this is real. This is art. Like we could do
Yeah.
something here, you know?
yes, and I'm like I don't remember because I'm too old.
Shout out childhood
Yeah,
and forgetfulness.
shout out being on Newgrounds
Shout out.
So
to
true.
Rip Flash.
because
Fuck
like
it.
Those Madness Interactive, that game was sick.
right, I think Newgrounds kind of like trained you in a weird way of like,
Yeah.
and I think it's like there was a time where it was like less accessible, but I think it's looping back around to like itch is becoming Newgrounds and that again
Yep.
for a new generation. So people are like just playing random weird shit on itch.
Yep.
Yeah. You have to like the same way you have to acclimate yourself to like reading books again after spending your life on like social media. You have to acclimate yourself to playing games that aren't just like dopamine like factories.
Right.
Yeah.
You need to just like play a game that you can sit with and meditate on, and like it'll make you a better person.
You need to become like unrelatable. So like you need to
Yeah.
get
Shout out boring games.
right.
Mm.
Get out of touch and then like loop back around and be like, actually, Chartmaster Grapple is a really normal sounding album. Like it just,
Exactly.
it is music. It's like it's not
Yeah.
that weird.
If you're the Joker, it's actually like the most normal album there is.
exactly, and I mean I remember listening to it. I'm like, oh, it is kind of like not that weird. I mean, it's very weird, but it's like, oh, it's like an approachable kind of weird and everything. But it's like no, because your
Yeah.
brain is fucking poisoned by
Yeah. He wishes he was 100 gex.
by your
Real.
It's like no, my brain is poisoned by listening to just like fucking nonsense all the time, and
Be
like
the approachable kind of weird.
listen to aggressive
I-
ambience or whatever.
Yeah. Shout
My
out Brian Eno.
statement.
Yeah.
Shout out Brian. My statement is be the approachable kind of weird. That is my
Yeah.
final word. I like that.
Have bad taste and good manners.
Yeah.
Yo, that's so good.
Yeah.
There's been a
There's
lot of good quotes today. I'm gonna be honest. There's a lot of good ones came
Chat,
out of.
clip that. Clip
Clip
that.
that.
Oh shit!
Clip that.
I forgot to tell him to clip it. Oh god damn it!
Oh,
It's okay.
I've been forgetting
all
that.
good.
I've been getting the. No, as someone who occasionally, how do I say this politely? People who always talk to chat talking to chat as a normal thing and shouting at everyone in chat is the most deranged behavior in the entire world.
Yeah.
I completely
horrible.
agree. Like in normal universe, like in just like standing around, like chat, is this cooked? type
No,
shit?
no. I just mean
Yeah.
like if you're like I don't understand streaming. I don't like it
Oh.
It feels like there's something in me of like every time someone subscribes and thanking them, like does that person need to be thanked? And like is deranged as shouting them out is the most deranged is the person who feels that they need to be shouted out.
Yeah, that's a
Uh,
sickness.
Yeah.
No,
For,
the,
like,
the
gotta
new
work on
level of deranged for me is like people in real life, like in meat space, will be like, "Chat, is this? How do we feel
Ooh,
about
That's
this?"
funny. That's
And
funny.
It's I find it
That's
so,
a good bit.
That's
It's
right.
so shocking.
It
I
is.
love cringe stuff.
Yeah,
Shout out Leet Speak.
shout out Lead Speak. Got to bring that back.
Oh yeah.
True. Shout out for bringing out irony. Never let it die.
Never let it.
The secret is to be like sincere. Like I think all good irony comes from a place of sincerity, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Like anyway, I'm not gonna get too into the weeds of that. We're gonna
I
start.
was about to say we could keep going. You're gonna have to kick us off this.
That I mean that's just I mean
Keep going.
like I said I don't have to order. I got leftover pizza. I'm like usually what shuts this off is I get hungry, and I already ate a slice today,
Nice.
so I'm all sliced up, and I'm gonna have more slices after.
Just close the chat when you get tired of us.
Yeah, but anyhow, we're gonna start wrapping up this show in proper but so kid, if people are looking for your work, where can they find that work? Where do you want to point them to?
My website is alt.red, alt.red.
Can't get simpler than that.
You can't get a shorter URL. You just can't.
Yeah,
Not in
that's
this economy.
No.
Head over there. It's a Google site. It's pretty hard on the eyes, so enjoy.
I'm sick of some. A site is nice for a site to be hard on the eyes every now and then.
Yeah.
To be like your own space.
Yeah, you should see the older versions. They were really rough. So,
But
you know,
because it
consider
also
yourself
does
lucky.
the only thing that a website does that I care about, and it's having your email on it, which yours does.
It does, and it's got a mailing list. You can
Yeah.
sign up for my mailing. I send emails sometimes.
Perfect.
So we love emails.
Yes, email. Email is perfect. Email is the most beautiful thing in the world.
Yeah.
Because it does. Because it exists. It's not going away,
Yeah.
folks.
Yeah.
Email's here to stay. Like
You can always lose a snail mail letter. You
Yeah.
can drop an envelope on the ground. You can't do that with email. You can't drop
Yeah.
it on the ground.
S-
I mean, you could delete it. That's the same thing.
right, but you some unhinged
Just don't.
an unhinged billionaire cannot buy email. I mean, in theory, they perhaps could, but it'd be infinitely hard.
I think they're going.
God, I hope
That's
not.
actually my conspiracy theory. Is that's going to happen in the next 10 years?
It would be infinitely
gonna buy
harder to
email?
just purchase email.
Email's going to get in-shitified.
Conceptually buying email.
I mean, emails
sounds
already
cool.
do have Gmail has fucking emotes or whatever.
Yeah. Well,
And
they
I'm-
show ads. They show in your inbox. Google puts
No.
ads.
Yeah.
What?
Maybe because of
I
my
haven't
the way
seen this yet.
I've changed how I sort things, so I don't have those.
That is good.
I forgot how I did this. There's a way I set my sorting, so I don't see those. I
It's
forget
coming
what it
for all
is.
of us.
Yeah,
Shitification, man.
yeah. Innovation is just making everything worse and making it cost money.
Real.
Um,
A subscription, but not Adobe. We like Adobe.
yeah, of course
Yeah.
we like Adobe, and of course we like if you.
Thank you, Creative Cloud.
Thank you, Creative Cloud.
And of course
What are
you.
those Feastables?
If you were just feast.
Shout out Feastable.
Shut up, Mr. Beast. My champion, Mr. Beast.
Friend of the show.
Learning all the right messages from Squid Games.
All the right messages. Longtime friend of Indiepocalypse.
Yeah,
I want to.
I love Mr. Beast. Shout out to Mr. I forgot how. Shout out to Brent or whatever his name is.
Yeah, I give
feel-
him 5 booms.
He feels like
Five big booms.
5 big boots for Brent. Love fucking. I can't believe I had to
I'm
learn
sorry,
about.
you've been such a good sport.
I can't believe I had to learn about
Yeah.
fucking Costco guys.
Uh,
From something that I liked
God.
too.
yeah.
um, but anyhow, yeah. I don't. I think I knew his name at one point, but he seems like the kind of like he it seems like he would have a name like Brent Beast.
Brent, yeah. Mhm.
Brent Beast.
If that makes sense to anyone, that seems like the kind of name you would have.
Mr. Beast's name is Donald, I think. if I
Okay.
remember
I
right.
think is it Donald?
I
It
think
sounds
so.
like
Donald
it
Beast
is,
sounds
something
right.
like that.
Okay.
Donald Beast. Yeah.
But his first name's not Mister.
No. But anyhow, that said, JD, hello. Where can people find your work if they're looking to find it?
Sure. Best place is probably my itch. Just jdcalvelli.itch.io. Yeah, I need to make like a proper kind of personal site. Haven't gotten around to it yet, but I'll
My
do it
advice?
eventually.
Just get a URL. For step 1, buy a URL. Step 2, redirect it to something.
Woo!
Mhm.
Step
That's
3,
real.
make a website.
Step 3, make a website. I
Yeah.
can get behind that set of steps.
But honestly, like there is it's crucial. Like people underestimate just like URLs are like $15 a year or something.
Yup.
Um,
I have my business website, but it feels
yeah,
not like the right vibe.
and then you just literally redirect it to something like just so you can point people towards like you're like, hey, Indiepocalypse.com. If I was weird, it would go to like whatever. You can go to it goes to my Blue Sky because I'm a fucking freak, and then then with time if Blue Sky disappears, it goes to my like other website or whatever, my Tumblr.
That's
Good
Smart.
strat.
And then
I'm sold. I'm
and then
sold.
Y'all,
Tumblr-
Calzone Tricks is not taken. It's
Yeah.
available.
No.
Oh,
.com.
The only website I wanted to buy that unfortunately is taken is unlimitedrungames.com.
Mm.
I wanted it
R.I.P.
because I thought it'd be funny.
I didn't know .red was a thing. By the way, that's really cool.
Isn't it? It's a fun one. I
Is
was
it
trying
like-
to just write the
is
word altered,
.blue
and then I was
a
like,
thing?
What
Like,
is that?
do
Good
they have
question.
other colors?
Oh,
I don't think it's. I think they're all like different countries, or they were up until a
Oh.
point, and then they made like a bunch of. They released a bunch of new ones like a
Right.
decade ago, like
Right.
Horse.
Dot
shit.
Horse is my go-to. My go-to one.
Yeah,
I
Wait,
that's a good
use
Dot
all the
Horse
time.
is cool.
Yeah.
Dot Horse is actually really cool. Hold on. All right,
That's a
I got
good
some
one.
work to do after this.
Um,
But
but-
yeah, I guess in the interim, check out my itch until
Yes.
JD.horse is a thing that exists.
Yeah, and think about look how snappy and how easily JD.horse. You can easily go,
JD.horse
Yeah.
goes hard.
It rolls off
That
the
goes-
tongue.
It does.
you can easily go
Comes out
to
the gate.
easy to remember. Easy to find.
JD.horse.
And you can go
Oh
to
my
any
God.
website. You can even just redirect it to any website you want. It doesn't need to go to an actual website.
Oh, what's a casual $1,000 a year?
Oh yeah,
JD.horse among friends.
it's nothing.
It's a good URL.
Yeah,
It
it's
is.
good you are. I don't blame them.
But that all said, of course, Indiepocalypse, you can get indiepocalypse.com. It's the website where you buy Indiepocalypse or pizzapranks.itch.io. You want to submit your game, go to indiepocalypse.com/submit. That's how you become one of these fine contributors on the show. Or, I mean, also I just invite other people on the show. I invite just like other artists and publishers and things that I like, you know. Yeah, there you go. It's a little cheaper.
There you go. JDCalvelli.horse.
Speaking of
Oh,
things you
boy.
can subscribe to, you can also subscribe to the Indiepocalypse Patreon. It was sitting at a cool 666 for a while, but somebody subscribed, so now it's probably at like 686.
You got to say some controversial stuff and bump that down again.
But I need to get boot someone off there, or I can just go higher and it can be like 1666 or who knows. Anyway,
6666.
66666. Let's just get that up to 6,666.
Get that up, chat. Let's go.
Yeah, let's get all
that
those
up.
numbers up there. Let's get up to
Agreed.
the devil's second number. his backup. But yeah, no, I mean the Patreon is a very handy way to guarantee a payment for developers in between events, which are really where the money rolls in, relatively speaking, and those are few and far between. But speaking of events, let me run down the catalog real quick. This is fun. I like the idea of, like, as someone who mostly listens to like comedy entertainment podcasts, and they always, that's where people shout dates of things. It's fun to have, dates to shout dates.
Shout out Paul F. Tompkins.
Shout out Paul F. Tompkins. I'm upset at myself that I did not go to see Varietopia when it was in
My friend
Boston.
went to the one in Rhode Island. It was great.
I wanted to go, but
We'll
it
get
was
him next
like
time.
it was like the week of PAX, and I was like, I'm just gonna.
Oh yeah.
There was just so much stuff, and I don't want to I don't want to drive up to Boston again.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I didn't want to drive up that much, but yes, yeah. Show those old guys who keep letting young people in and hang out with them. Important things. I think a lot. It's a silly tangent to get down, but I think a lot about his old spontaneation, and he talked about the idea of like, he's like, oh, I could do comedy because I saw a bunch of people like me who doing comedy all the time. And so it's like, I think about when scheduling this show to bring people who are not like me, so other people can hear people who are like them and be like, oh, I can do comedy too.
Yeah, you can make games.
Right.
You can make games.
I'm telling you.
There are people out there who are not just like rich white people from America who make games.
Yeah.
I know that's what they all look like, generally. Sometimes they're from Europe, Western English-speaking Europe.
Western, yeah.
England generally, maybe France, but no, everyone can make games.
Anyone can cook.
Exactly.
Ooh, actually, wait. Can I amend? Because I'm about to buy this domain right now.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Vel.quest.
Let's go.
There you go.
Fire. I'm taking that right now. Vel.quest. Check me out. It's gonna link to my itch. Probably
There you go.
right
That's
after this.
the most important thing to do.
Y'all buy. This is your sign. Buy a URL.
Buy
now.
URL. This is your sign.
Mortgage your house. Buy a URL.
So that
So-
said,
Sorry.
No,
I'm so sorry. Yeah.
No, I'm encouraging this. I'm just trying to get. I'm saying this for myself so that I don't get wrapped up into this, instead of just get wrapped up into hanging out. So on the 14th, City College Waffle Games in New York, NYC as they call it, the Big Apple. Go there, get yourself a slice of pizza pie, and go walk to Broadway, and then go to City Games and
See the Mets.
yeah. Well, and again, look at the big beautiful green lady, and be like, mwah, America, and then see some video games at Waffle Games, and then the very next day, yes, I'm talking about the same person who's just in New York. The very next day, get your ass to Toronto.
There's a train.
There's a train, the
You
Maple
can
Leaf
do it.
line.
You can do it.
I will not be taking that train there. I thought about it, but I just like did not want to go overnight. Like I wanted to go home for one day after. But after that, go up to up in Houndstooth down in I think downtown Toronto near Sepulveda. Sepulveda is in Toronto, right? That's what I'm thinking. That's like that big main line, that big main street. Or am I thinking of LA? Who knows? Anyhow,
I don't travel.
Me either. I don't travel. I say as I'm saying.
Yeah, you have like 3 different countries you're going to in the next 2
I just came back from Berlin 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, that's
no, Spadina. So I think it's like Spadina in Toronto. I think something like that. Anyhow,
that sounds right.
Spadina, something like that. That main drag, mainish drag. Anyhow, Houndstooth. It's somewhere near there. It's close enough walk to the Beguiling that I'm like, ooh, I can go to the Beguiling as well. I'll be there for the Indie Game Emporium as part of Toronto Games Week. I'll be there, and then 2 days after that. Well, 2 days after I get back from Toronto, 16th I'm just hanging out. But on the 18th, MIT Open Space inside of Boston, Cambridge, not Boston.
Mm-hmm.
I will
Important distinction.
I will be giving a talk about DIY publishing in the indie space. So if you want to have a talk about someone that tells you to get a fucking day job, and
Yeah, my dad's gonna be there.
yeah, and someone to tell you, hey, fucking, you're not gonna make any money off of games. Deal with it. If that doesn't feel like soul crushing, and if that sounds inspiring, hey, stop by there. I think that's it. I think that's my calendar. I think at the end of August, I'm going to be doing more events as well. Anime NYC and PAX West. But that's in August. That's a ways away.
Narrascope. Shout out Narrascope.
Shout out Narrascope. Right.
June 20th to the 22nd. Can
Yes.
still get an online ticket if you want to get involved in more online or more, IF community / narrative game stuff.
If you're in the Philly area, right?
Philly area too.
Yeah. Can you still go there in person, or are those sold out?
Friday, not the Friday showcase.
Oh, no.
You can be there in person.
Okay,
but
but
the conference itself sold out.
Yes. So hey, if you're in the Philly area, hey, stop by. I know these people. I know these. Am I in this? No, this is from Narrascope, so I'm probably not in this picture. But like, I know both of these people in one of these pictures, and I know exactly this room. This is in MIT.
That's first year was MIT, I think, 2019.
I've been in that room many times.
Oh yeah.
For events. But yeah, so check out those shortlisted games. There's a bunch of cool shortlisted games. Check out the concept of interactive fiction. Learning yourself a text parser.
Yum yum yum.
Yes. And then think of attending, or like also donate to Narrascope. These things are not free, you know. Like whatever, the Indiepocalypse is funded by a day job, but it's harder to fund organizations with collective day jobs. It just gets more complicated. Like
It's our turn for the $20 bill.
Right. It gets it's doable, but it's way more complicated.
It said it, not me.
Hey, donate to Narrascope.
Yes, donate to Narrascope.
Just do it.
Appreciate you all.
It's simple. It's like, and these, continue to support the spaces, fucking get yourself out of the games industry. I learned yesterday that there was a James Bond video game, and I thought, who cares? Why?
Shout out Ubisoft.
Why would you even,
That sounds horrible.
That sounds horrible.
I don't know. Video games, man. You don't need to watch video game showcases,
Yeah. Except at Narrascope.
Except at Narrascope.
You know what I mean, though. You do not need to engage with Sony Computer Entertainment America. You simply do not. No one is forcing you to. Who is that fucking philosopher who's like, you are not required to give a take?
Like Diogenes chilling in the barrel.
There was someone who was like, there was like some post a while ago did condense it into like, was it Marcus Aurelius, I think, said it? He was like,
oh, that sounds like a stoic. Yeah. It was Marcus Aurelius.
He's like, you are not compelled to give a take. Like, a thing cannot compel an opinion from you.
I used to study Latin. I remember. It's like you always have the option to not have an opinion or something like that.
Right.
Shout out silence.
Yeah.
Shout out silence.
Shout out just not having to talk.
Yeah.
After we've talked for 2.5 hours, shout out silence.
But we're like talking to each other. We're like
true.
having conversation.
Shout out listening.
Yes.
That's what it's all about.
Shout out the ability to like double back on yourself immediately. A thing that is absent in social media. Which
we could change our minds. It's fine.
Right.
It's normal.
Yes.
I think that's the important part of like the ability to be corrected is like
you got some new information? Change your mind. It's fine. Yeah. I forgive you.
Right. Like, anyhow. Whatever. And remember this. And remember now in this Pride, remember to go out and watch. You know what I watched this year for the first time that I was like, where has it been my entire life? Fucking Greg Araki.
Wow.
Yeah.
Shout out Mysterious Skin.
Shout
Great
out,
fucking movie.
shout out Nowhere. I think about the end.
Nowhere.
I think about the end of Nowhere constantly.
Yeah. Stream Araki
Yeah.
on fucking Roku.
Yeah, I know he's on Criterion, but he's probably does Tubi ever? Tubi, do you have my back, Tubi?
Tubi. Oh, I love Tubi.
I remember. I think it was Sloan Long who said, "If no one else got me, Tubi got me."
Yeah.
I think about that a lot.
Yeah.
I mean, sure, there'll be a bunch of ads in the worst possible place.
Yeah, but you know what? That's just part of the experience.
Yeah.
That's the price you pay for not paying a price.
I do not think that Tubi has Nowhere, but
Donate to Tubi, honestly.
Yeah,
I don't think you need to. I think like Fox owns Tubi.
Okay, don't
Never
donate.
mind.
Definitely
Never
don't
mind.
donate. Do
We're
not
no
donate.
longer partnered with Tubi.
Right.
Yeah.
But I mean, there you go. The ability to immediately double back on yourself
Yeah.
when given new information.
I don't feel stupid.
Yeah.
I don't feel stupid.
No, listen, we can't contain all human knowledge.
Yeah,
True.
We're just stupid
We
animals who
try.
think too much.
that's real.
That's it. We're shutting down this damn show.
Good night, everybody.
Good
Good
night.
night, everybody. Thank
See ya.
you.
Goodbye.
Love you.
Love you too.
Here's the outro.